Well, welcome to episode 36 of TerrorVision Horror Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dan McGuinness, and joining me on the meatiest wagon of tooting is my co-host, Jennifer the Dream Warrior Strand. Now, I'm going to have to change meat wagon to something that actually toots, like the meat train.
Yeah, we can... I love a meat train.
I'm going to change it to join us on the Midnight Meat Train, which is a Clive Barker reference.
It is.
Yeah, and then you can toot away.
Yep, all the toots.
Together, we are two people with a love of horror, and we feel the burn of our obsolete, no, he didn't say it properly, blockbuster memberships. We're basically crybabies who can't handle that time moves on.
I know.
So rolling straight into this. My fun fact for the week about myself is once I got so jealous of my cousin when he was staying over that I cut the cord to my ColecoVision whilst he was playing it, nearly killing myself. But the power cord, because I just got jealous and he was playing it and I wasn't, so I just cut it. And the only thing that saved my life is they were like plastic handled scissors and it melted the metal. So it was on and playing. So I basically cut through a live power cord with scissors.
That is insane.
Yeah, I mean the scissors melted like around like they were like metal, but they still just burnt in.
Okay, so he was playing the game and you were jealous that he was playing and you weren't?
I think I was just a jealous child, and I was an only child.
Well, you're an only child.
Yeah, that didn't understand sharing very much, and he was playing, and and my mum was like, "Shut up, stop being a dick." Well, she wasn't like that. She's like, "You have to let your cousin play."
I can't imagine your mum being like that.
Yeah, no. And I cut the cord, and it was, then I had to get it fixed.
Wow.
Then no one played.
No one. Yeah, and if I can't have it, no one can.
Exactly. I took my ball ColecoVision and went home. That's it.
Like, did you get into any kind of trouble, or?
Yeah, no more than I wasn't used to. I was a bad kid. Like I said, I was growing up, I was sick, I was on a lot of medication, and it actually affected my mood. So my parents let a lot of shit slide, except for the stuff that always nearly killed me. Yeah,
like the, trying to kill yourself with a Coleco.
I didn't try and kill myself. I tried to win. There's a difference. I wasn't an emo. I didn't have a fringe. I wasn't listening to my camera or anything.
This is like the early 80s, right? Or the late
This
80s.
is the early 80s. This has been like
80s.
82.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so yeah. I probably didn't even understand. I thought it was just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm not playing, you're not going to play.
That is next level though. Like, my childhood growing up, if you wanted to kick someone off, you like kicked out the power cord. You didn't cut it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I wasn't exactly
Well, you are like on a different level.
Erratic.
Yes.
All right. What's your fun fact?
Okay, so I put this fun fact in because we were driving home the other night, and to paint you a word picture, I don't remember heaps of my childhood. Like, I have snippets, but my long-term memory is really bad. I've recently discovered. So we were driving home from the city the other night, and we had some terrible 90s playlist on, and Billy Ray Cyrus's Achy Breaky Heart came on.
Nice.
And I just got like this hit of childhood in my face, and I like really remembered that 6-year-old me was obsessed with Achy Breaky Heart.
Ooh.
Like, obsessed to the point that I think my dad, because we didn't have
a
CD player or anything, he like got a CD and made me a cassette so that I could listen to it on my Walkman.
Oh, nice. You're a Walkman.
Yeah, but I also don't remember having a Walkman at 6.
This is a PC podcast, a walk person. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. I have never been obsessed with is it Billy Ray Cyrus?
Yeah, like I was not obsessed with
his daughter's name?
Miley.
Sorry.
Apparently, she was conceived the day after he shot the music video for this.
Well, he would have had a lot of vigor after that.
Well, he did have that glorious mullet.
There would have been, I reckon, like, even if you're with Billy Ray Cyrus and if you're just dating him, you would have got pregnant.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because of all the womenness that would have got pushed towards that film clip, you would have just immaculately conceived like Miley Cyrus.
Yes, I'd say so. But yeah, like I don't like country music. I don't like Billy Ray Cyrus. I don't like any of that. Don't know why. And then I got to remember this fun little fact about my childhood.
Aw, cute. I love country music.
I
grew up listening to like punk country and all this stuff like Hank Williams III, and the Super Suckers did a country album. Ween did a country album. They're all great.
Me First and the Gimme Gimmes did a country album.
Exactly. That's a super band. One of them's a member of Lagwagon, isn't there? I used to listen to them.
Yeah.
They did like Country Road and all stuff like that as well. Excellent. That's a
Yeah.
great. I feel I know a little bit more about you, but
I feel the same way because I
not-
fucking don't know much about me.
yeah, I always just forget stuff about myself as well. But let's move into horror news. Should press the button. Each week, me and Jennifer take you through the horror news you need to know about. Welcome to horror news. You know, last week I werewolfed so high pitched that the mic's cut off and it just cut sound. It cut me off. Like the actual the recording device just went nah. Nah.
I love it.
You're
That's like next level howling.
yeah. That's like I got banned
You got
from the algorithm.
Fuck.
What's our news, Jen?
All right, so I'm keeping the news very short and sweet this week because our movie is quite a lengthy one and we do ramble. So for those of you who are like fans of the Universal Monsters, I know I am, they're landing on YouTube for free this month.
All of them? What do you mean Universal?
So all the Universal Monsters. So we are talking Dracula, The Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. So they're being released periodically. So January 15th, Dracula and The Mummy are being released. January 16th, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. And then January 17th, The Invisible Man, The Wolf Man, and Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
See, that's the odd man out. Like, all the rest of it is like classic, you know, The Mummy, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. She's a bit late with the big hair with the streaks. Yeah. Invisible Man, Wolfman, and then Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. And I'm like, could have left that one out, I reckon. And that's so much after all the rest. You're looking like 7 years after the last film, like as in like Wolfman was made. Like that was made 7 years later. I feel they just had a slot to fill.
Well, I don't know. See, that's where it gets me because I'm like, where's the Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Yeah, that
Like,
should have been there.
What the fuck are you doing? That is...
Maybe they're doing it in blocks. Then again, they don't have many more after that, do they? Like the core.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, this is the core, except for Abbott and Costello. And then we do move into, like, you know, Revenge of the Creature and all those other things.
And the fact that they're in blocks of 2 and then the last one is a block of 3 with Abbott and Costello. I just say we forget the Abbott and Costello one. We might get people might throw some shade at us because of that, but nah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I have seen none of these films.
You've not seen any Universal Monster films?
No. I've just it's just a thing as growing up I was into like, you know, just modern horror, like the horrors that are thing. And to me, like watching them, I'm like, there's no body dismemberment. There's no, like, you know what I mean? There's nothing in here that I like. And I reckon there would have been a time when I could have rewatched them as a bit older and appreciated them, but I just missed it. I know Ian loves them.
Yes, he does.
Ian of Gamma Ray Comics.
Yes.
In Adelaide.
I love Universal Monsters. Creature from the Black Lagoon is my all-time favourite, but I do have a very big soft spot for 50s and 60s horror because it's of a whole level and a whole generation that's just really good, but also really cringy.
Well, there was a lot of risks back then. These were dudes doing things that they really wanted to do, probably at, like, you know, ignoring the advice of people saying don't do it. Yeah. As in, like, no one's going to want that stuff. Like, people want, like, happiness and stuff. People don't want ugly men, like, prancing around in costumes being uglier. It's
true. But yeah, like, so maybe I'll make you watch Creature.
Maybe not.
So yeah, basically, if you're a fan of the Universal Monsters and you haven't had a chance to check them out,
free on YouTube.
Yeah, get into it.
That's it for that horror news for this week. Apart from like honourable mention that there is a trailer dropped of Sky Sharks, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically flying sharks that are ridden by zombie Nazis.
Yes, yes, it is.
Look it up.
I will put it on the Facebook because I feel that if you don't know about it, you need to know about it.
Yeah, Sky Sharks.
If you don't know, then you know.
And like I was saying before, those people who do these kind of like what are they like? Sharknado, all those other ones, Mecha Shark versus some other thing, that the effects that they're using are getting really, really good because the effects programs are getting cheaper and like for them to do and they're looking better. So the Sky Shark one doesn't look that bad. Like, you know, the other ones you're just like, oof. Where this is like, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, this is, you know, this is only about 10 years behind now instead of 20. But excellent. Oh, let's move straight into our spoiler cast. Yes, every week Jennifer and I set ourselves a horror movie to watch and then we go through it scene by scene the next week spoiling the fuck out of it for you guys.
Yep.
It's a deep dive into glorious gore, hard edits, cheesy acting, directing madness, severed wangs, and compound fractures.
Yes.
We have a rating system. It's kind of a rating system. It's more of just like a vibe, so you know what, if you do choose to watch this film, what you're in for.
Yeah, it's our it's our chaos vibe.
A chaos theory
Yeah.
on a chart.
I love it. So, for those of you playing at home, we have A, which is awesome, everybody should watch. B is your beer and chicken wing group movie. F is for fun and dumb. We've got a C, which is a classic that's worth a watch. We've got U, which is underrated. G, good for its time but is not held up. We've got J, the Jen special. D, the Dan special. We've got a W for whatever's so off my radar. We've got the Kesha, which is a low-budget hot mess. And the McConaughey, which is the fucking fucked.
Not to say anything against McConaughey's acting, except in Chainsaw Next Generation.
Not that I've watched a lot of his films, but my whole life is now just focused on this one film.
On one film?
Yeah,
Yeah,
fine.
excellent. So this week we watched Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1994, or it's also known, I kept finding it just called New Nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, without Wes's name on there, which I think it might be an accident or something, so they just thought it was like, you know, some things like Presents, where
Yes.
this is actually the name. Wes Craven's name is in the title, which is different from, like, you know, Presents or the director. Like, that's the name of the film. Yeah. So who's the director?
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, the director is Wes Craven, and it is also written by Wes Craven.
Oh, is it written by Wes Craven? We know that.
It also stars Heather Langenkamp, who you would all know as Nancy from the original Nightmare on Elm Street film.
And
three, yes. Robert Englund reprising his role as himself and Freddy Krueger. And Wes Craven's also in it. I'd also like to point out that Miko Hughes, the creepy little kid from
Pet
Sematary, is also in this film playing a creepy little kid.
He's not credited in our starring. He's pretty much is the star here, hey?
He pretty much is.
But he hasn't done much now.
He hasn't, and he's aged well. He's about my age, actually. But he's one of these sideways cat people, and I just don't want a bar of that. Because they've just done the 30th anniversary for Kindergarten Cop. Of course, he was in it. He was the, girls have a penis.
Yeah, vagina, yeah.
Boys have a vagina kind of thing. And so they all got together and had a chat about it. So I watched about 10 minutes before I got really bored.
Yeah, before you just, like, threw your computer at the window.
Yeah, I'm just going to go continue living my life.
So its budget was $8 million.
Yep.
And it made $20 million, basically.
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
it over doubled its budget. That's so weird, considering Nightmare 3 didn't make money,
I know.
which is my favourite. Let's get in. Should we get into it? There are some fun facts around this film, but most of them involve us talking about them as they happen.
Yes.
I do like... Yeah, we need to... there was a working title of this film, which was A Nightmare on Elm Street 7, The Ascension. Wondering, would it have made better money?
No.
You reckon? Do you reckon
No.
it was donkey? Putting a 7? Do you reckon leaving the whole franchise vibe was a good idea? I think it does.
I think it works because
Because it's not in the canon of Nightmare on Elm Street. This
No.
film.
This is like...
Something
the film's
new.
ended, Freddy's dead. This is something completely different.
This is, for those who don't know, this is set after Freddy's Dead, the film that they made where they killed him.
Yeah. So, this time, the terror doesn't stop at the screen.
Is this a synopsis?
This is the tagline.
All right.
In this meta horror film, a demonic entity uses the fictional character of Freddy Krueger to enter the real world and torment Elm Street heroine Heather Langenkamp and her family.
Nice.
That's pretty spot.
So, straight away, you notice with this film, it starts and there's no opening. As in, there's no opening title. It
No.
never has the title of this film ever come up in the film, which I really like. And apparently that was to blur the illusion of whether it's a film, a documentary, or something else altogether.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, straight away. I'm like, rad. I love my funny, smart horrors.
Yep.
You know what I mean by smart horror?
Yeah, this is very smart.
Yeah, as in like Cabin in the Woods. What was the other one we watched recently? One Cut of the Dead.
Yes.
Smart horrors. They're trying to do something above the genre.
Yeah.
Like, above and beyond. Anyhow, opening to make there's opening, shots in and out, and they're basically we see
It's like a forge. I'd call it a forge.
forge or a boiler room.
Yes, kind of.
Tools banging and stuff and clang. We basically see it, and that someone is making a new Freddy glove, a shiny new metallic Freddy glove.
It looks good.
Apparently the glove is like, and we can see the glove. This metal, which is almost like the Terminator's hand.
Yeah.
Moving.
On
and it it pounds the desk in a fist, even though it's like got no arms.
Yeah. Okay.
And it gets held down. And then we see some Freddy-looking hands.
Yeah.
Putting in some knives into the glove, as in attaching knives into this robotic glove.
Yes.
And the glove is alive, which is stupid.
Oh, you're not even holding back today.
No, well, it was a bit. I thought that bit was a bit. I thought just the moving of the fingers was enough. Not that stamp hitting give me knives, couldn't wait.
No. So then we get this. We cut to this scene, and the glove is there, and it's still sort of moving. And now we're assuming that this is Freddy Krueger because you've got the hand and then you've got the sweater. So you can see the sleeve of his sweater, and he's holding it on the table, and he's got a meat cleaver. So clearly he's about to, for some reason, cut off his own hand.
It makes sense. He wants to bond with this hand, to have his robot hand as his claw.
So if this claw has a mind of its own, then maybe he can fuse with that and make his killings even more
cool.
So he cuts off his hand, blood starts splattering, and then it just sprays in. We get this shot of Heather Langenkamp and her child. So blood splatters over them, and she shields his eyes.
It doesn't splatter on them. They're like, is this the shot of them going,
it's like they freak out.
Yeah.
And then it jumps to Wes Craven directing a scene.
Yeah, so basically what we were watching for the whole opening was just a movie in a movie kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, they're filming a Nightmare in Elm Street film.
Yeah.
Which makes sense when you're like, oh yeah, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It's about,
Yeah, so it's about him filming a film. I'd like this, yes. We get this, please hold, no, frame in, splatter more. I can see your sleeve. It's not Freddy.
Yeah, we see the effects guy there who's fake arm is coming out of. He's sitting there in the chair with the claw and stuff like that.
So we get this really cool scene of how they're sort of doing it. Two guys under the table just squeezing a bottle of blood that's just popping up.
And one guy's remote controls, animatronic.
He's got this remote control. And then Craven calls cut. And he starts thanking the team. He's like, thanks, guys.
Good shot.
New glove's going to look good. This is great. We're happy. This is fantastic. So we are clearly on the set of a new Nightmare on Elm Street film. We are introduced to Chase. Chase,
which I couldn't remember his name. I got him boyfriend, which is the special effects guy who was he was the guy whose arm was getting chopped off. And he is Heather's boyfriend.
Well, husband.
Is that husband? Husband, sorry.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So, Heather Langenkamp's. I'm just going to keep calling her Heather because I feel like I'm butchering her last name and I feel really bad.
That's fine.
So Heather's real life husband is actually a special effects guy. He was offered to be in the film, but he sort of declined.
So he's one of the only ones who actually declined, except for her child, which isn't her child, obviously. Why he declined? Maybe he just wasn't good at acting. Maybe just nah, man, I'm behind the camera.
I think her son.
I mean the husband. I wonder why he didn't
Yeah, but quite possibly. So he declined. But it's I like that we were talking the other day, and she was actually on. She helped work with him on Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah,
because he did a lot of special effects.
Still, yeah.
So she
gets
credit
to home, putting, where writing these characters in, not only writing them as playing themselves, but also writing in their actual lives into it. I think Wes was really trying to go for something really, really different in this film, which is great. Then we kind of cut to the props room. Mm-hmm. We're in the props room now. They're doing some adjustments on their Freddy, their new mechanical Freddy glove. They give us a bit of a monologue about the thing, which is the stupidest thing in the world. It was fine as a remote control glove, but then they mention, this is biomechanics. It has real bone marrow in it. It has real tendons from real humans. I'm like, why?
Yeah. This is
Could
unnecessary.
You know what? No, they can't even do that now.
No.
So,
But I'd also like to point out that they probably should have said, "Oh, we used them from like deceased inmates."
yeah,
Which is
maniacs
yeah.
of the local sanitarium, sanatorium,
Sanatorium.
the local cornflake place. So they mentioned that, and straight away, you see the claw go.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, did that move?
It's like, oh,
Oh, they must. The synapses must be out. Let's test that. And because Heather's there the whole time, she's off it. She's like, I don't like.
she's feeling uneasy. Yeah, she's got this very uneasy feeling. Like her son's there as well.
Why is her son there?
They're just visiting Dad on set. Why not?
Yeah, and then so the husband is working on the glove with the two dudes, and it kind of spasms out the glove, and one of the knives nicks him. I don't know why they'd be real knives, but sure, because that's just gonna make someone get hurt.
Oh yeah.
Nicks his finger, and he's like, ooh, ah,
It's just a paper cut.
ooh, ah. No occupational health and safety in this film.
No, none at all.
Then what happens, Jen?
So then the glove just basically has a mind of its own.
It comes alive.
It comes alive. This doesn't look too bad, actually.
I thought it looked okay,
Yeah.
because I think it wasn't CG. I think it was stop motion overlaid onto film.
I think so, yeah.
With so they did quite well with this bit, I thought. So you got this robotic,
Yeah, it's like,
spidering.
thinging across the table, and it just like launches at one of the special effects guys, and like into his neck.
Into his throat.
So he's on the ground, he's spurting blood, he's wailing around, and while this is happening and everyone's in this frenzy trying to get to him, trying to get to the glove, Dylan is walking off like a creepy fucking kid.
Yeah, this kid exudes. Is that the right word? Exudes creepy kid. He is basically Damien Omen. He's perfect for all these kind of films.
Yeah.
He just walks off.
He does. So he walks off towards this bed, which is just also on the set, and he climbs on, sits on it. So the glove is still attacking everyone. There is blood everywhere. I think both of the special effects guys are dead at this point.
Yeah, you see the glove running around, kind of stalking them. Yeah, and it kind of there's a cool bit where it's on the table, and it grabs the edge of the table and slides down the metal bench. Goes like,
yeah, that was good.
Claws, and then lands on the ground, and then a guy falls, the other special effects guy falls over, and it runs up onto his chest and starts basically knitting his chest with his little finger. Blood's coming out everywhere.
So all this chaos, and
then we cut to the son. He's still sitting on the bed like a weirdo, and we see some props dudes wheel a prop in front of him, and of course when they go past, he's gone.
He's gone.
He's like, shoo, we get those jingling.
Yeah.
Nancy's just, not now. Heather's just standing there going what the fuck?
Yeah, she doesn't even really know how to react.
And at this point, I wrote in my notes, this is clearly a dream.
Yes.
When he went onto the bed, I thought that was a bit too much of it. Up until this point, I was like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, but up until this point, I was like, yeah. Then, we said, the glove, it sees Heather, runs at her, jumps at her, and of course...
Heather,
she wakes up. As in all Nightmare on Elm Street, whenever a scene gets to the point where you don't know, where they don't know how to end it, they just wake up.
And this happens a lot throughout this film.
So we're just going to call these the jump wake up.
Yeah.
So a jump wake up, from when we mention it, is just a scene getting ended by a character waking up, and the whole scene before it was a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So we get jump wake up. That's right. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well. It doesn't matter.
Just wake up.
I've had the waking up.
She's clearly had a nightmare. Now, she's waking up to the room shaking.
She's in her house now.
Yes, she's in her house. We're in the real world, we presume.
Hollywood.
There is an earthquake, so everything's shaking. So she's out of bed. Kid starts screaming, so her and Chase both get up to go race towards him. Chase gets cut. He cuts his fingers along the way.
Do we see that?
We don't see it.
No, that doesn't happen.
No,
They basically both run to Dylan. Dylan's the kid, yeah.
Yeah,
Dylan. To Dylan's room to protect their child, which I think what most parents do, so I thought that scene made sense. They kind of wait, the room shaking, all the shit's falling onto the ground, and they basically just wait it out kind of thing. Obviously, this must happen a bit. Where are they? Is it in LA?
I think they're in LA.
There are lots of earthquakes in LA.
Yeah, they're on a fault line.
It's a stupid place to build a city. Just saying that.
Yeah.
Lots of cities do that.
Throwing it out there.
Japan, like Tokyo, like. Anyhow,
Sure.
so they weighed out the thing, and then they're sitting on the bed, and then that's when Heather notices that Chase's finger is cut. She goes, "How'd you get cut like that?" And it's like,
It's like, oh, it must have been the mirror when the mirror fell down.
cool.
I wasn't in the room when the mirror fell down.
Clearly,
but it must have
we
been
know.
Yes.
It was when in his dream or her dream. We don't know.
It was a dream.
Hard cut to breakfast.
Yes. So there's clearly there's the news report on the TV explaining just what's happened with the earthquake. Dylan's sitting there playing with his porridge, making a creepy Freddy Krueger face in
the
there.
porridge.
So Heather and Chase, they start talking.
They have a parent huddle.
Yeah.
Like,
The parent huddle.
Yeah.
I love that.
She's like, I'm having nightmares again.
Yeah, so she's feeling tense and he's like, have you received another phone call?
I'm like, what?
Okay, what is this phone call? And he's like, she's trying to explain to him about her nightmare, but also not, because she wants to kind of keep that, I'm guessing,
Yeah, I did find in this film, she kept a lot of stuff to herself she should have said. And she kept to herself for story reasons. Like, it wasn't, and I was like, come on, just mention that.
Yeah.
Just mention that. Like, you're in the real world. You're not in movie world. Like,
I think the problem is, though, so if you are experiencing some nasty phone calls, or if you are experiencing some kind of, horrible event that's happening in your life, and then you start having, nightmares or start behaving in a certain way, yes, it is probably going to be related to what is happening, but you don't really want people just throwing that in your face every 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're probably right. And also, she's gone through it before. These prank callers, crazy stalker fans. Well, I'm just going to say what it is. It's pretty obvious.
So
Did
she
you
has
know?
a stalker.
What?
Did I know? What do I know?
That in real life, she had a stalker.
I did know.
And it actually, Wes Craven rang her. This exact thing happened to her. And Wes Craven rang her up and said, can I have permission to weave that into the story? So he really tried to weave the real world into it.
Yeah.
So she had a crazed fan in real life that kept bringing her and doing the Freddy song to her and stuff like that, which is pretty crazy to think about.
It is crazy.
Which is what makes this film really cool.
Yeah.
This is what's making this film really cool, is Wes Craven has tried really hard to make this as realistic as possible. That this is a real set. The only thing that gets let down is a lot of the acting in this. There's some real bad extra acting. But anyway, we'll go. I've written that down.
There is. So of course, she's explaining the nightmare issue to him, and he fobs it off.
He basically dismisses all of her concerns.
Which is exactly what I'm saying. It's really horrible when you're experiencing this stuff and people just fob you off and be like, oh no, it's just this. It's not this, but thank you for just disregarding everything.
Well, like my mum does constantly with everything. She's like, I'm not having that, so therefore you're not.
Yes, I like that. But they kiss and make up. He's about to leave on a 48-hour trip.
I'm having some problems. The phone calls are starting again. Yeah, I'm just going to leave.
Yeah. It's
going to go away for the weekend.
Good luck with that.
And work on some other film.
I'm going to be out.
So then we're like, yeah, cool. I was like, yeah, cool. Get Chase out of the picture.
Yeah.
He's an actor. He's not a real person. And then after he bails for work.
So as soon as he walks out the room, it starts to shake. So we get another an after. Is it an afterquake?
Yeah,
or an aftershake.
There's a word for it.
There is a word for it.
I'll think of that. What it is.
Yeah, you'll scream it out in the middle of halfway
in the middle of the night tonight.
Yeah. You'll message
3 in the morning.
So the room starts to shake. She's freaking out a little bit more, and then the wall cracks. So we get this giant claw-like
Four cracks,
in
fingers,
the wall,
like a slash almost.
Conveniently in the wall.
So, what I did like about this film is it did that thing which I like, but it didn't do this well enough. Is it coincidental or is it horror? And I like that in films. Is she just, when people start to go a bit crazy, they find links to everything,
yes.
Their confirmation biasm. Is it confirmation biasm that she's having? Because she's having the phone calls from the crazy fan. She's having nightmares and all this stuff. Is she just linking that? I felt they could have gone with that real hard, but so the whole time you were like, is she just crazy?
Yeah.
or is she actually like the Babadook was a perfect example of that. Was she just breaking down?
Yep.
Or and the Babadook. This reminded me a lot of the Babadook when I was watching it. If you haven't seen Babadook, watch it.
Oh, it's a great
Babadook,
film.
Australian film.
Babadook.
South Australian.
Duk, duk, duk. Yep.
Babadook, duk, duk.
She comes downstairs. Dylan is he's in the living area and he's just standing in front of the TV. A Nightmare on Elm Street is playing on the TV.
Nightmare 1?
Yep, the OG Nightmare playing on the TV. She's kind of walking up. He's in this like trance-like state. Like he's just staring at this TV.
Yeah, he's like. We learn later on that he's basically sleepwalking.
Yeah,
because he sleepwalks hard. He daywalks.
he does.
He's like Blade. He's a daywalker.
So as soon as she turns off the TV, he snaps out of it.
He wakes up.
Just starts screaming.
Well, he freaks out because he's
He does.
like, I imagine that would be a real weird thing to happen to you, eh?
Yeah.
Imagine like instead of waking up in bed, you wake up and you're standing somewhere and you don't know where you are. I once like rode a motorbike and hit a tree stump, whacked my head on the handlebars so hard that I knocked myself unconscious. And there's a massive period in my life, and suddenly I came conscious again, and I was like, I was in a different house because I've been taken there. But the whole time I never was unconscious. I was still walking around, and there's photos of me in times that I don't remember ever happening. Because my cousin at the time, I was with him. The cousin I cut the cord with.
Cousin.
I had a camera on me and he took photos of me, and there's photos of me like giving him the finger and shit of times I don't ever know happen.
Wow.
But I remember I just suddenly started remembering, like my mind just suddenly filtered in from a certain time. So, and that scared the shit out of me, and I started crying.
Yeah,
I didn't know where I was. Like, anyhow, that's what happened to him.
Yep,
That
pretty
kid.
much. Yep. Oh gosh.
And then the phone rings.
Yeah,
after all this shit.
immediately. It's meant to be a jump scare, but I think it just kind of missed it.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
No.
And it's a prank caller. It's another one, and it's like Freddy's voice, kind of like, and he does like the
1-2.
Yeah, this was hilarious because she answers it and it goes like 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. She hangs up.
Yeah.
The phone rings again and she goes, oh, I don't know. I'll answer it anyway. And she goes, hello, and then he's like, Freddy's coming for you. Like to get it in. So I couldn't leave the thing not done.
No, it's he had to get it done. It's like it's OCD.
Yeah.
So as soon as she like jumps off the phone, she's like, fuck, Chase might still be here. So she runs out the door. As she runs out the door, his truck is obviously just pulled out of the driveway and you just see him driving off in the distance. So, too late, your husband's gone, you're on your own.
Yeah. Then she walks back inside, Dylan's standing there, and he just goes, I think he just say, like, he just goes, he's coming.
He says someone's coming.
Someone's coming, or he's coming?
Yep. He's just like, someone's coming.
And then another
quake.
Aftershock.
Yeah.
After I don't know what that is.
Aftershock.
Aftershock?
Yes.
Another aftershock happens, and then basically the babysitter comes over.
Yep. Doorbell rings, and we are introduced to Julie.
Because at first we thought when the doorbell rang, it might have been like the stalker. Like they're doing that kind of vibe where everything is like, what's that?
Everything's a mystery.
And we're introduced to Julie, the babysitter, who looked a lot like a Nightmare on Elm Street girl.
Yeah.
Did you notice? Like,
Yeah.
I think they purposely made her look like the blonde girls that's always in Nightmare on Elm Street. So I was like, is she the one from like Nightmare 3? The girl who, I can't remember her name, the one that can pull people into her dreams. And
yes,
like, it's
whose
not
name is fully escaped me. She's an Arquette.
Oh.
Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it wasn't her.
No.
But I feel that, they've added this character in here to make it feel like it's, because like, they're probably like, Heather's too old now. People are going to come to a Nightmare film expecting some teen tang.
It's only 10 years later.
True.
I'd like to point out that Heather looks amazing in this film. Like, her eyes. She has such pretty eyes.
Yeah, she
They're
looks like
so blue.
She looks like the daughter from Cobra Kai of Daniel LaRusso's daughter.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, well, she does.
I'm not gonna watch it. So once again, the phone rings. She answers it straight away. Leave us alone, you son of a bitch. And as it is in every film, it's like, ma'am, this is the limo driver. I'm just calling to say that I'm outside.
Yep.
So she sheepishly and awkwardly, it's like, okay, I'll be there in a second, puts down the phone. So she's feeling really uneasy at this point. Like, Dylan's having a sook. He doesn't want her to leave. And she's like, I'm only going to be gone for the day.
Yeah.
I will be back. It's fine. And then we get some, like, really unnecessary chit-chat.
Like creepy kid chit-chat?
No, so, like, Heather's talking to Julie. She's just been told that the limo driver's outside waiting, they need to leave. And she's like, I'm just going to finish my coffee and talk to Julie about, like, awkward, just, oh, yeah, I received another phone call. It's weird.
It's kind of just filling in Julie of what's happened in the last scene.
Yes.
And then the limo driver like rings again. He's like, "Come on."
He's like, "Ma'am."
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we get so then she's in the limo. We get I didn't. This wasn't even worth really mentioning. She just goes there and he kind of mentions, "Hey, you're fucking Heather from Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever." Blah blah blah. The applause. She feels awkward.
End of story.
End of story. We're getting to the point where I was like, "Why did you do these films if you hate them so much?" I kept thinking that.
I did get the vibe that she just really wasn't into. Not that she wasn't into doing this film, but that she wasn't into the life that this film had brought her.
She didn't want to become a scream queen.
No, I don't know why. I'd love to be a scream queen.
And then we cut to Heather on TV, and the thing she was going to for work is she was getting interviewed because it's Nightmare on Elm Street's within the film's 10th anniversary. So she's done a whole bunch. She's doing a whole bunch of TV spots, probably to
Yep.
just to do it. I don't know why you'd actually be on for a 10th anniversary for a film, but because there's no. At that point, there's no film getting made. You know what I mean?
No.
They don't know.
I'm guessing it's going to pay some bills, or it's going to, build a second wing to your house. I don't know.
Yeah, she's on like a morning talk show.
Yeah, it's a terrible talk show. She's being asked like absolutely stupid questions about just her life that she's really not interested in answering, but she's got that like, oh...
Yeah, they're really prying questions for a morning TV show.
What's your son's name?
Yeah.
Like, don't ask that. That's not an
Has your son ever seen those movies? Your movies and stuff like that?
They focus on that a lot. There is a lot of attention on him watching. Have you let your son watch these films? Why have it?
Do you know? Right? Does she have a son in real life?
Yes. Well, he passed away, but yes, she did.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was a brain aneurysm.
A nightmare.
Quite possibly.
Well, let's not talk about that then.
No.
Anyhow, they're like, "We've got a special guest for you," and of course, Robert Englund bursts through the back, dressed as Freddy. He like Freddy's up the crowd, like, "Hey, how you going?"
I love this scene as well
so did
because it had that really cool like that soundtrack. So it's like this really upbeat like talk show music, but it is the Nightmare on Elm Street but it's also like heavy bass. So it feels like heavy Seinfeld.
Yeah, I wish we had that that song. He comes in, jazzing up the crowd. Nancy, Heather. I'm gonna keep calling her Nancy because
that's fine.
Heather keeps on like she's kind of freaking out a bit. You know, you have a bit of a montage of seeing the crowd in slow motion dressed as Freddy.
Yeah.
Freddy's in front of her going, "Hey!"
He's loving it. He's just like, "Well, hey, I'm back, bitches."
I love Robert Englund in this film.
He is amazing in this film.
So yeah, and then and then it kind of doesn't show the end of the interview. We just kind of cut out.
There is no sit down between the two of. There's no sit down between her and Robert because he's dressed as Freddy. There's no sit down between the two. They just allude to.
He's just kind of like there's gonna be some more shitty questions and some fan stuff, and then we cut to basically after the interview, and you got Robert Englund in his casuals.
Yeah.
And his casuals involve purple shaded sunglasses, not even sunglasses, glasses.
Yes.
As in to show he's an eccentric.
Yes. Yes,
he's in a suit though.
He is.
And he looked great. I was just like, "You look wicked." And he had a really good attitude, and he's just like...
So he's being mobbed by fans. He's signing autographs. Meanwhile, Heather is standing in like the dressing room, just kind of like arms folded, pouty faced because she's not getting the attention. I don't even think she gives a shit that if she's getting that kind of attention or not. Because obviously, like, you don't come out of a horror film going, "Yeah, Nancy." You come out of a film, you're like, Freddy.
Yeah, that's true.
That kind of thing.
I don't think, Does she, like, at this point, she kind of says, "Has anything strange been happening?"
Yeah, so she's not, so like I say, she's not really, like, bummed out about the attention. I think she's just bummed out and she just wants to talk to him about this. Like, is something happening?
Because he'd be the only one that kind of understands. Like, he's probably seen her go through the first time. The stalker, like, fucked up her life and shit like that. So she just wants a friend who knows what she's gone through to talk to.
Yeah. And they have a brief chat about, well, what about we do another film? Like, the fans want it. Like, I'd love to get back together with you and do another film. There's no resolve to that. They just sort of move on and he leaves. Heather gets a phone call
mid-conversation, which is New Line Cinema's calling it, which I think is weird.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, hey, it's
New Line Cinema."
New Line Cinema.
They basically just say it's New Line Cinema.
Yeah.
She's got a big, like, old school, like, 90s. Is it 90s?
Yes.
90s cell phone with those big
Yes.
ones that you pull out the aerial. She's
Oh,
like,
yeah. She's like, oh, do you want to come over for a chat?
yeah, come
Not
on for a
like,
chat.
I've not, like, contacted your publicist or your PR rep or, like, organized something
just call you.
on a day that suits you.
We just cold call you
It's
for
like,
a movie.
hey, I think you're around. Come down.
For those who don't know who New Line Cinema is, it's the original cinema who created the Nightmare on Elm Street series, which is also the cinema, I mean, not the cinema, the company who's making this film.
Yes.
Which is weird. Oh, Inception.
Yes.
Um,
So Heather, she's like, yeah, okay. So she heads over.
straight away.
She's greeted by, I can't remember who she is greeted by one of the women who runs New Line Cinema in real life.
Oh, really?
This is actually her, because it's Bob Shea, and I apologize, I cannot remember her name.
Doesn't matter, man.
It does not matter. But a fun fact was she was so nervous to be on screen and do this very small scene that she went out and bought herself a new suit. So the suit she's wearing is her new suit. So
Brand new.
Brand new.
Tags and all.
Off the rack. She'll probably return it tomorrow.
Probably.
It's fine.
And then she goes and sees the boss man.
Yep.
Is that the real...
Yeah, so that's Bob Shea.
That's why he was such a bad actor.
Yes, it is.
This guy was so wooden, and he's just like, he's got the lines in his head and he's just saying them.
Yeah, that's all he can do.
Well, that's fine. That's fine that he is the real guy, because otherwise there is no excuse why they chose this guy as an actor, because I was just like, oof.
Yeah, well, that's where it gets into the whole meta.
Yeah, well,
kind
Wes,
of.
like I said, he's going real deep. He nearly wants as many people who are playing themselves in this as he possibly can.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I didn't know that fact, which makes it a little bit cooler.
So they have another chat about, like, you know, how you doing, what's going on. Well, we kind of want you to come back. We want you to come back for another film.
I want you to reprise the role of Nancy.
Wes has pitched the idea, you know, and then straight away, like, it's like anyone. It's like if Wes Craven has pitched an idea and wants you involved, you just got to do it.
Well, he says, like, Wes has already started the script. And then Nancy's like, Wes is writing again? Nightmare? Right?
Yeah, so he's having nightmares
And then she like, looks
again.
into the distance and that means he's having nightmares again. Because that is a true thing. Like, he based the original Nightmare on Elm Street on nightmares that he had.
Yeah.
Which I loved that line. It was so bad.
So she's so unsure about, like, he's like, oh, you know, we can pay you, like, we can offer you a lot of money, and she's like, look, it's not about the money, and it wouldn't be. It's the stalker. She's having this issue. Like, if she does another film, that's just opening her up for, like, more stalkers.
He did say, though, like, she said, I thought Wes wasn't doing horror movies anymore. I'm like, when did Wes Craven ever stop doing horror movies?
Like, he's literally got, like, 3 coming out today. Okay? He's doing them.
And now she's just like, nah, get fucked.
Yeah. It's not like a complete turn down, but it's
She's just like,
I feel really, really weird about this.
shit going down.
I'm really busy. My son's being creepy lately. Okay,
Yeah,
guys, I can't
did
do
you
it.
know that I had the child from Pet Sematary? It's hard. He keeps trying to kill me.
He does. Yep. So we cut to Chase.
No, first we find out the boss man, what's his name?
Rob Shea.
Rob Shea drops the bomb like, your husband's already working on the film.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about
So
that.
he kept that a secret from her, which
did.
is where he had gone for work. It's
Yep.
my air quotes of work for the weekend. He's gone up to work on the new Nightmare film and not mentioning it to, which makes me think he's a bit of a bad husband, knowing that she's been through all that, and like at some point he knows this is gonna like shit's gonna hit the fan, but he don't care.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things because, like, as a special effects guy, you know, your dream would be to work on one of those franchise films. Like, oh, we're going to pay you to design a new glove and do this. You would jump at that. So I think if your wife was like, had a stalker because of this film, you really wouldn't want to turn it down. So you kind of would lie to her about it, but you'd feel a little bad about it because she's going through some shit.
Yeah, true. But then we cut straight to Heather coming home.
Yeah.
Basically, she's coming home. She's like, the meeting's over. She's coming home. She comes in and bloody Dylan's having a fit. He's having like a epileptic. Well, the only thing we described is like an epileptic fit.
Yeah.
His babysitter, what's her name? Julie's
Julie.
like, oh, what's fucking wrong with him? And then Nancy picks him. Heather picks him up, and he's like looks at him and goes, never sleep.
Yeah.
In like his like crazy voice.
Kind of sounded a little bit like Donald Duck.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to be honest...
if that had been my child, I would have dropped him. throwing him out the window.
You would have just been like, you can go outside now.
So this is the point when you take your kid to a therapist, a psychiatrist, at least a doctor.
Just anyone.
He's having fits.
Yeah.
Like, fits is like nothing to like go, he'll be fine with some sleep.
Yes.
She's like, what the fuck's going on? He's just like, Rex saved me.
Yep.
And we see Rex, which is a little Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it has all these slash marks in it.
Yeah, his furs sort of come out of it and
Fur?
you know,
Stuffing.
his stuffing. Whatever.
Yeah, he's all cut up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just the end of that scene. She doesn't go like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How did this get cut up? Have you got a knife in your bed?
Yeah.
Should we check your room? And she just goes like, uh-oh. I guess you just shrug that one off.
Well, that's quite peculiar.
Yeah, if I just ignore that, it'll go away. Like all problems in life.
Yup.
And then we cut to Chase.
And then we cut to Chase.
Chase is working at his new job. He's working on the new Freddy glove, which we zoom out and we see is this
We get this nice shot of the glove.
which is so it's kind of a new guy. It's not the one from the start, the robotic one.
No.
It's a new one, which is basically like it's part of Freddy's hand.
Yeah.
Like,
So we see some bone, which kind of looked okay. I feel that it
got
could
some bone
have
and
looked
some
better.
tubes.
Yeah.
So we've got the blades coming out of the fingers, and then there's like a skeleton hand over the top of his real hand, kind of attached to him. I didn't think it looked that good. I thought the metal hand looked heaps better.
No, I'm old school. I like the original glove. Just bring back the original glove.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be the new Nightmare,
I know.
a new Freddy.
Ugh.
B.
2021, the year of the new Freddy.
And Heather calls him
Yep.
and says, "Dude,
You gotta come
Dylan's
home.
having fits. He's having epileptic fits. You need to come home." And he's like, "Yeah, sure.
Well, he's like, I can't.
I'm on
I can't.
set."
Chuck and Terry didn't come in. I'm under the pump.
Chuck and Terry, yeah. So
Yeah.
they were the guys. So apparently, and doesn't she say why didn't they come to work?
No, she doesn't say that
Oh, okay.
or does she? I can't remember.
At some point, they're like, yeah.
Anyway,
Chuck and Terry were the guys that
didn't
got
come
killed
to
in the original Dream opening scene,
yes.
and suddenly they haven't come into work.
Yep. So yeah, she explains to him that he's acting like Freddy, like he's like he just fubs it off again. He's like, oh, you're freaking out over another phone call, but whatever. I've demeaned you. I'm gonna come home now.
Yeah, I've demeaned.
So
And then it cuts to where the Freddy glove was, and
it's gone.
Disappeared.
Fuck.
It's just fallen on the ground, broken. It's like, fuck.
That was the deleted scene.
Yeah. So then we cut to Heather reading Dylan Hansel and Gretel.
Yes.
Which I didn't write much about this because it's just like it's going to come up later.
Yeah.
It was so ham-fistedly
This is
done.
the very prominent scene, and you're like, why are we putting so much emphasis on this?
Well, because they
we
talk
do get
about the
some really good-
breadcrumbs to come home, and you're like, okay, it's going to be how the fucking film resolves,
Yeah, pretty much.
Pushing the witch into the fire.
But I did enjoy, because obviously, Heather gets halfway through and she's like, this is too gruesome, I'm not going to read anymore. And so he just sits there and starts to recite it himself. So we get a really good, he's really good acting.
Yeah, the kid's
I
good.
thought that was really good of him to do that. Fuck yeah.
And he
Children
says
acting.
it all dramatic, like, the
does.
witch gets pushed in the fire and it burns. And Heather, they're just going, all right, my kid's fucked up.
At this point, she's like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. He did watch one of my films.
Yep.
And then he talks about, Rex keeps the mean man. Because she sees, what's that under your covers?
Yeah.
And it's it's Rex. He's
So
keeping
Rex
the
is
mean
down.
man down.
By his feet, and he's
Yeah.
stood up, and it keeps him safe from the man with the claws.
Yeah, the mean man down
So
there.
then they both jump under the covers, and she does that parental, there's nothing here. There's
We'll go
there's
down and
nothing
have a
under
look.
your bed. There's nothing in your closet thing. She's like, there's nothing here, and he's like, it's different when you're gone.
Yeah.
So clearly something's happening while he's sleeping.
Still, she persists on not taking him to the doctor.
Yeah, no, I would take him to an exorcist.
Then we cut to Chase driving home in his truck, in his pickup,
His
and
pickup.
his Trump wagon.
Oh dear.
Cruising home. It's night time, and of course he's he's doing the snort wake ups. He's
Yep.
falling. He's like, oh shit.
We've all been there.
Don't want to. And we know in any Nightmare on Elm Street film, if anyone shows any point of being tired whatsoever, and at any point they shut their eyes even for 1 second, they could be in dream.
Yeah.
Which I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool thing.
It's nice. So it's like he's there, he's weaving in and out of traffic. He winds down the window, turns on the radio, but the radio's not working. It's very staticky. Nothing's happening. He's not getting a good channel. So he tries to start singing to himself, and he shouldn't.
And at this point, we see a claw, a Freddy finger knife, come up through the what's it called? The car seat between his legs, and just diddle his dick. Just scratching his crotch a little bit. It's just like, hey, and he's just like, whoa.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Hey, wanna get high? And I didn't quite understand why that happened, but yeah.
No.
So Freddy just is amused by diddling dudes' dicks, and then of course, then the whole glove bursts out the fucking chair between his legs and stabs him in the guts. And of course, he's driving and his car crashes.
Yeah, so it rips right up through his chest. He's crashed the car and
hard cut
to wake up.
To Heather waking up, and you're like, did she dream that?
She's waking up startled from a nightmare.
Now, did you feel that she was dreaming that? Because she mentions it, doesn't she, later?
Yeah, I think so.
So she, even because Chase has nothing to do with Freddy.
No.
So is her nightmare pulling other people into the nightmare? So if she dreams you die, you die.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, because she...
But also he does have something to do with it now, because he's the one who's designed the glove.
True.
He's
which
there.
Disappeared in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Which is this is the main problem I had with this film, is it wasn't abiding by the nightmare rules.
Yep.
But then again, it kind of explains that why. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Dylan wakes up. Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan's standing there at like the doorway. So that whole creepy child coming into your room. My brother has kids, and he's like, the amount of times that I've woken up and nearly punched my daughter in the face because she's just standing there staring at me. And I'm like, that is terrifying.
Just waiting for you to wake. Like, they don't want to wake you.
No, yeah.
Like, they don't want to get told off for waking you up, but they can't not be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Gross.
Yeah. So he's saying, it's like, oh, Rex has kept me up with his fighting.
Yeah.
I can't sleep. Okay.
Next thing we hear the doorbell ring in the middle of the night, and of course it's the police. Sorry, your husband's dead.
Yeah, they really didn't have, like, is your husband this guy? She's like, yes. He's like, ma'am, there's been an accident. Is he okay?
It's worse than that.
It's worse than that. It's like,
bomb.
Oh, so he dared.
Yeah, so she's basically just dreamt this exact thing. It's happened. She decides, like, I want to see the body. Mm-hmm. I need to see the body to believe it's even there. Cut to her at the morgue. She waltzes into the morgue.
Yeah. She's just
walked into a room where people are getting cut up. She's like, hello?
Yeah.
I'm here to see my dead husband.
Walking with purpose.
I wonder if that's the real morgue. The real morgue attendant.
Quite possibly. They seemed pretty chill with what they were doing.
Yeah. So then we see a morgue dude comes over, shows her the body, shows her the face of Chase.
Yep.
And then she's like, I want to see him again.
Yeah, because like as he pulled down the thing, like you get this small like
we see a little bit of a
these
cut
like small cut on his chest, and she's like, something up.
Something's up. I want to see it. So yeah, she pulls the rug off of him basically, and we see a big Freddy claw down his chest.
Yep.
And she's like,
and vomits.
And she vomits.
Immediately vomits.
And then the dude's like, this is why we don't show, you know. She's like, what did that? He goes, I don't know, we had a crash.
Yeah. He's had a car.
It looks like an animal claw. He goes, yeah, so?
Yeah, it was in a crash. It was probably bears.
Yeah, something like that. And she didn't seem very upset.
She really doesn't. And it's so strange as well because, like, it was a car accident. However, there is not a nick or scratch anywhere else on his body.
Yeah, he's just got a bear claw down his chest.
Yeah.
Which is fine because, you know, back in that day. Then again, she is going through heaps of trauma. So to her, it's like, it's not, you know, Freddy is doing this. You know what I mean? Like, if she's thinking that, she's not thinking straight anyway. So she might be like, how do I kill Freddy again? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, a lot of the time with trauma as well, like, you don't necessarily
process shit properly.
So you just sort of shut off to it. It's not to say that you don't care or whatnot. But...
Yeah. And yeah, we cut straight to the funeral. Mm-hmm. So it's an outdoor funeral, that kind of vibe. Everyone's there. Robert Englund's there.
We see some of the original actor from the first film, the one who was hanged in the jail cell. He's there. He's got a bit extra. Wes Craven was going to ask Johnny Depp, but was too afraid.
I don't know why.
I don't know, because Johnny Depp was, like, big at this point.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because later on they were having a conversation and he I think Johnny Depp said, "Oh, if you'd have asked me, I would have."
Yeah, I totally. Yeah, I was going to ask you, but
Like,
I didn't.
hindsight, bitch, you wouldn't have. I 100% believe if he called him up and he's like, "Hey, Johnny, do you want to come in?" Just he's like, "Yeah, but like $1 million and I'm there."
Or he's like, I'm right in the middle of filming 17 Pirates of the Caribbean films. Like, I need to. Like, I can't really do that. Yeah, he might have. Like he's I have
Well,
a
he was-
really good. But then if Wes was too afraid to call him, I feel like they don't have that good of relationship.
But also, Johnny Depp did have that cameo in Nightmare. Was it 4 or 5?
Yeah, where he's on the TV.
He's like, "This is your brain.
Brain on drugs.
Brain on drugs."
Anyhow, an earthquake happens at the funeral. Everyone like gets rocked. Heather falls over. The coffin falls into because it's getting lowered down into the grave. The coffin falls in and smashes open. Heather falls forward and smacks her head on the there's like a bar or some shit.
Yeah.
And then she sees Freddy.
Yeah. So Freddy's got Dylan.
Yeah, she smashes her head, looks back at where she was sitting. Dylan's not there.
Yeah.
Looks back into the grave and sees Freddy pulling Dylan down into the coffin. So she fucking just bails into the coffin.
Yeah. Which is such a strange, like, how the fuck did he get to her? But that's fine. So we get this very, very small, quick glimpse at Freddy. So
Also, she's not asleep. So Freddy's just in the daytime.
yeah. So she's quite possibly very briefly unconscious. I don't know. Unconscious.
But at this point, we're just like, what's Freddy doing?
Yeah. So he's grabbed Dylan. He's pulling him down. She's like, fuck no. Straight on in. She pulls him out. So we see this like
he pulls
lengthy sort of tunnel.
Yeah,
as well.
it's like the coffin's inner padding has elongated into a giant tunnel room, which is a very dream nightmare thing. And they have a wrestling match with. It's like basically Freddy's arm we see.
Yeah.
Like we see his face for a second, but yeah, they're kind of a wrestling match pulling Dylan out, and she wins, pulls Dylan out.
Yeah, and then
Chase's body falls on.
His body falls on. He just starts talking.
He says, "Stay with me forever."
And his eyes start bleeding.
Yeah, I don't know why his eyes started bleeding, but sure, it's fine.
Yep. And then John Saxon, because I forgot John Saxon was in this film. He grabs her and shakes her out of it.
Yeah, and then we see that she didn't jump into the grave. The coffin didn't even fall down. No. She just fell down and knocked her head on this bar.
And has had a moment.
And like she got knocked unconscious, and that gave Freddy an opportunity to try and fuck with her.
Yeah.
John Saxon is in it. So if you don't know who John Saxon was, he is the guy who played her dad, the police officer in Nightmare 1 and 1.
No, he came back 2? For 3.
3.
He was in 3 as well.
Oh yeah. So as we've gone through because we've done 3. He's the dad in the bar.
Yep. We unfortunately lost him last year.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
He's such a dad-looking dude. He's such a cop-looking dude as well. He should have been in Chips or something like that.
Well, he was in Nightmare Beach, which was a great film, and he played a cop in that.
Oh, nice. That's all you can. That's great. We got John Saxon in the film, playing John Saxon. His name's John.
Yeah.
Which is nice. At this point in the film, I got the vibe, like after the funeral, she speaks to like John Saxon for a little while or something. I got the vibe that everyone was getting fucked over by Freddy. They were all starting to have nightmares, but not as gnarly as Heather. Like all of them were.
Yeah.
Like they were all kind of just having nightmares though, and Freddy was involved in it. So they were all kind of a bit off their game of just
because everyone's kind of looking to leave, but no one's talking to each other.
Yeah, and no one's talking about that. No one 100% dismisses Nancy's theories either in the film. They're always just like, yeah, and it's like they want to say something, and all of them hold back that like they're there.
No one wants to
go on that fucking roller coaster.
No.
It's supposed to be real life. And our funeral's over. We cut to Heather at home.
She's in bed.
It's nighttime.
Having a cry.
Why not?
Yep. Well, you've just lost your husband. You've buried him. I'd be crying too. She hears a sound. She goes downstairs. Dylan, once again, he's at the TV in a daze watching A Nightmare on Elm Street, and she wakes him up. She just kind of grabs him.
Didn't learn from that first time how it pans out.
You never wake up a sleepwalker. And then he starts like singing the one.
He does a scream.
He does. He does
like a waking fright.
Do a lot of screams. And immediately starts singing the 1, 2, Freddy's Coming for You song. She's like, "Where'd you hear this song? How do you know? Like, how do you know this?" The fact that he's literally watching it on the TV does not indicate that it could have been there. He's like, "I hear the song in my bed." like I hear little girls
I
singing
hear the
it.
children singing it.
Yeah. So it's like,
And you're like, okay, now I got to take him to the doctor.
so like the man in my bed. And he's like, well, what's the man trying to do?
It's for just the neighbour sneaking in.
Yeah. We're back to the ICU again. So he explains that the man's trying to get up into our world. So then we have another cut to just pointless chit chat.
No. First we get a cut to the TV was playing Freddy.
Not playing Freddy.
No, well, it's not plugged in.
Yeah, it's not plugged in.
Dun. So then we're like, well, was it even on? You know what I mean? It could just all be just like she thinks he's watching Freddy. It could have been dun dun dun. Then we cut to the next day.
Yeah. Let's forget about the other scene. There's a very brief scene where they're just talking about God and heaven. Which does play a small role in the next scene. But, at this point, he's rolling over to go to sleep. He tucks his little feeties up and he puts Rex down by his feet and she's sipping on coffee. So it's clear. It's also midnight. So
she's clearly trying not to sleep either, which would also dislodge you a bit more, instilling more that, is she crazy? Mm-hmm. Is it just not happening?
Yeah.
Still would have been amazing if it just wasn't happening. That would have been a great ending.
Yeah.
Well, we all know it's not. It's a horror film. That's not a spoiler.
No spoilers.
So then we cut the next day.
Yep.
They're at the playground. She's met up with John Saxton. They're sitting on a park bench. Dylan's playing in the playground.
Yep.
They basically, her and John Saxton have a conversation of everything that's basically happened up until this point in the movie. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
You don't have to go over every single character.
We get this happens a couple of times throughout this film. And he's a big old father figure, so we're sort of getting this whole, Nancy.
He's almost reprising his role as Nancy's father.
Yeah, almost. But she starts talking...
Yeah, Nancy's father.
Yeah. She starts talking about, her family having mental health issues previously, and she's worried that it's passed on to Dylan. Meanwhile, while she's talking about this and having this big old, woe is me family moment, Dylan has climbed to the very top of the playground.
It's like a playground jungle Jimmy
rocket.
thing rocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, he's climbed in. He's kicked out, a grate that shouldn't have come out.
Shouldn't even be there to begin with.
True.
And so he's climbed out on top of it. So he's standing on the very tip top.
And this thing's 3 stories high.
It's massive. So he's up there. He's standing there. He's got his arms reached out. And meanwhile, all of a sudden, Heather sort of spies him. And she's just like...
Fuck. My son's... he's so precariously standing on this point.
It's just very well placed for him to be standing perfectly there.
It's a real thing.
Falling. Yeah. Every rocket has one. He immediately falls. So as soon as she spies him, he immediately falls. And she goes...
John Saxon's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, he's like, oof. She runs over. So meanwhile, while he's up there, they're just having a chat, but you can see all these, mums dragging their kids away. No one said anything. No one screamed.
No one's going, oh my God, there's the child on top of the rocket.
Someone get the child. Oh my God. No. So she catches him and...
Which I feel that even if you caught him, he'd still get hurt.
Someone's getting hurt. If that kid's
no one gets hurt.
It does not matter.
Did you know that the dad of Dylan in real life bought that rocket and installed it into their house after the film?
Really?
Yeah, he kept it.
That's interesting.
And weird?
He's like, okay, you haven't gotten any movie roles this week? Go stand up there.
Go stand on the rocket.
Go stand on the rocket. Dylan just looks, she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's like, God wouldn't take me.
Even God wouldn't take me.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Jesus Christ, kid. And then, John Saxon's looking at this kid going, man, you are fucked up.
Even he's like, this child ain't right.
Yeah. But still no one says, go to the doctor. Take your kid to the doctor.
Nope, nothing's happening.
So we cut to the next day now at Heather's house.
Yep, she's checked the mail. There's another odd letter.
It's an odd letter with, it's
just like a page out of something with a...
It's a page from a novel and there's a letter burnt into it. And she puts it into, opens the drawer and puts it into a whole drawer of other letters.
Full of them. But I like that it's nowhere out of the way for him to find. He could just walk in and at any point...
It's a whole drawer devoted to crazy mail?
Yeah, she's just like, oh, another one. Bam, in the drawer.
So, and I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Yep. So we get the scenes Robert Englund, he's at home and he's painting. Heather gives him a call.
This was great. This was I wonder if Robert Englund is a painter.
I think he is.
So he's painting a picture, and I wonder if the picture was his actual painting.
I would hope so.
He's got his purple shaded glasses on. He's looking wicked.
He does. But he's just come out with his own blend of coffee.
In real, oh yeah.
in real life. Like, I would very much like to get some.
That'd be cute.
Anyway, they start talking. She's telling him all about the stalker, and it's giving her Freddy nightmares.
But he starts to talk a bit too familiar about Freddy at this stage. He's
Yeah.
just like,
As soon as she starts mentioning that, he starts to get weird because she's like, but he seems different. And he's like,
darker,
more
evil.
what evil? Call it a guess.
Yeah.
She's like, well, how do you
And we
know?
don't see what he's painting
No.
at this time.
No, so he's looking at his painting, and we don't know what's happening.
We get the vibe that he knows more that's going on from being Freddy.
Yeah.
Like,
Something is clearly happening to him as well, but he's not really
he's dealing with it through art.
through art.
Yeah,
which is
expressing his feelings.
That's fine.
He mentions that Robert Englund mentions that Wes about the new script.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what did he say? He says like, Wes said this. She goes, how's the script going? And he said, Wes says the script. Yeah, Wes says the script is going along as far as it's not getting there, like Dylan trying to reach God.
Yeah, so she's like, where is Wes up to in the script? And he's like, I'm not sure. He's as far as Dylan trying to reach God.
Yeah,
which was literally the scene before. Dylan on the rocket trying to reach God.
No, but he said Wes said that it's as far as Dylan.
Yeah.
So Wes is like, and then at this point you're like, hang on, is Wes writing the script? What's going on here? Like, because he wasn't there. Is he controlling people? What's going on? At one point I thought, is Wes Freddy? Anyhow.
Yeah.
This is about where I was like, okay, colour me intrigued.
Yeah. So
like,
something's definitely up. And then she's like, oh, can we catch up today? And he's like, no, I'm busy today, but we'll catch up next week. That's fine. She hangs up, and then we get this image of what he's been painting, and it's kind of really cool and sort of surreal Freddy.
At first, it's like shows the bottom corner. It's these like faces in agony, and it comes up, and it's like a picture of a painting of Freddy Slash, and he's got the new glove. Mm-hmm. So that's how he knew. He's just like, so he had vision because he wouldn't know what Freddy looked like at this stage because he hasn't acted. So he's getting visions. Obviously, he knows what Freddy looks like. This new glove.
Yeah.
New glove Freddy.
Back to, it's now nighttime. Heather's in bed. She's sleeping. She's tossing and turning. We're hearing this really like weird creaking. Like the house is really creaking. Dylan's walking around on the lower level. He's walking around the kitchen again.
As in sleepwalking?
Yeah, he's sleepwalking. So we cut back to Heather, and the tip of the glove comes up through the bottom of the sheet.
Yep.
And then starts to very quietly rip down, which is so aesthetically pleasing for me. It's just like that night, like when you're cutting paper and you just slide the scissors through.
Yeah.
The little things in life.
He doesn't attack her though. He just kind of slides next to her.
So it rips right down to the pillow next to her face. And it's very slowly, the hand starts rising out. So we get this big arm out of the sheet right above Heather.
And she snort wakes.
Just as she snort wakes, Dylan's dropped something in the kitchen. So he's dropped like all this cutlery through the kitchen, and she's awake. She's up. The glove's gone, and she's like, "Oh, my bed is ripped to shreds." So okay, let's not think about any of that.
Yeah, let's put that one on the back.
Yeah, she doesn't even like. That's odd. Let's move on.
Yeah, so she goes downstairs. She gets up because she hears the thing. She goes downstairs to see what all this commotion is, and there's Dylan there.
He's singing the Freddy song.
In his trance-like state.
He's walking over to her. So we get this shot of him singing the song. He's walking towards her.
He's hiding something behind his back. This is when I thought, is that the Pet Sematary kid? Because at that point, then I was like, because go.
Yeah. So he's taped knives to his fingertips.
Yeah.
So he's just wrapped like little bandages around some knives, and she's trying to talk to him. He's not having any of it, and he attacks her. He just like starts attacking her. They roll around, and then
trick. It's a dream. She snort wakes.
Wakes up, rolls out of bed. She races downstairs. Dylan's in the kitchen, and he's just repeating, "Never sleep again." As he walks in a circle around all of this. So he's found the letters from the drawer.
Yeah, the
He's put them out, and it basically reads out never sleep again. And
no,
he's
it
just
says answer the phone.
Oh, it does. I apologize.
Which is wicked.
It does
It,
say
it
I
says
even have
answer
that
the
in my
phone.
notes.
So long game.
It
Pretty
is a
fun
long
long
game.
game here. And then of course the phone rings.
Yep. So Freddy phone, like it's Freddy on the phone.
Hey.
We get this like really cool, like the tongue shot again.
Yeah, the tongue comes out of the mouthpiece and licks a like old school Freddy vibe.
Yep, and it's like a split-second scene, and then Dylan starts foaming at the mouth.
He has a full-blown
He's in a fit. He's foaming at the mouth.
Did you know? I'm just going to put this in here. My friend used to sleepwalk.
Yeah.
Full on. And one night he got up, weed in a pot plant, grabbed a knife and fork, and went to bed with them. So, like, this thing of, like, him putting, like, he will do things all the time in his sleep. Like, It's pretty crazy to think about that. Like, that people can do that. Like, such an autopilot.
It is
Anyhow,
strange.
finally, Heather decides to take Dylan to the doctor.
Something could be wrong with this kid. Let's take him to the doctor. I hated this doctor. I'd just like to say that right now. I hated her.
She's
and I'm sad that she didn't die.
Well, I didn't hate her. She was like she was the voice of reason in this. If it wasn't you got to think, if the horror element wasn't happening, she was actually being a real doctor.
Oh, 100%.
She wasn't doing it tactfully. She was like Nurse Ratchet.
She was being so fucking condescending. That for me was, it just kept coming back to the you're a bad parent kind of deal. I don't think she was doing.
But they have a conversation. It's like, have your son watched any your films? Because she knows who she is. But Heather, like, blazingly just doesn't mention any of the Freddy shit to this doctor.
You wouldn't. You'd be foolish.
And then she's just like, we got to keep him in.
Yeah, we're going to keep him in overnight. Then Lynn Shay's in it. We get Nurse Lynn Shay. She's there. So she's Bob Shay's sister. She's the teacher from the original Nightmare on Elm Street film, and she's in all of the New Line Cinema films.
I didn't know that.
We love Lynn Shay. She's fantastic.
Sick.
So, Heather's there. She's giving Dylan a pep talk, feeling better and coming. She's like, you just need to feel a little bit better. Once you feel better, you can come home. Like, don't worry. Like, I'm just over there. Like, where is our house? Just over the freeway.
Yeah, we're just over the multi-lane highway.
Yeah. It's fine.
Just over you can see it out the window. That's our house over there, just over there in that neighborhood.
It's fine. I'm close. I'll be back. Don't worry. So Lynn Shay comes in. She's like, time for your medicine, cowboy, and gives him some sleeping pills. Just something to help him sleep. It'll be fine. Heather kisses him goodbye. Everybody leaves, and he just immediately spits out the pill.
Yeah, as in like he's hiding. Yeah, and he puts it.
Cut to Heather driving. She's pulled out of the car park, and she almost hit someone. She's really not in a good headspace right now. She's freaking out. She's driving through LA. We see all this debris and cleanup from the quakes happening, and immediately she calls Robert on her car phone, because car phones are a thing.
Yeah, they're right.
And gets this message stating that he and his wife are out of town.
Don't call us. We've left. It was like so blunt. It was like, we've left town. We will not be back. Don't try and contact us.
Yeah, it should have been like, dear Heather, fuck off.
Yeah,
love Robert.
Yeah. We are being haunted. We've left town. Gonna wait for it to blow over.
Yep. So instead, Heather decides to go on a bit of a road trip. So we get this very nice, like, little lovely countryside. And we end up at Wes Craven's house.
She visits Wes.
Wesley
Craven?
Wesley Craven.
Wes explains... this is when everything starts to unfold. Wes basically explains... She's like, how's the new script going? Tell me about the new script. And, like... So Heather's talking to him as if, like... She's asking him questions about the script, but she's really asking him how to solve her problems.
Yes, pretty much.
Basically, so how do you stop this new Freddy and all this stuff? So he explains that this new Freddy in the script is like this old evil, this old entity which gets trapped by storytellers.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's taken on different forms in different times, and the its ultimate goal is the murder of innocents.
And it got trapped in the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
Yep.
So this is in his script of what he's writing in his script of what this new film is going to be. And because they finished the films, the series of Nightmare on Elm Street, the entity now got loose.
Yep.
And it had nowhere to be, so it decided to start attacking the people who made the film.
Yeah. So it's
a bit grey area.
It is. So like the entity is there, and it wants to cross over and come out of the films and into the reality. So how would you go about doing that if you're an entity? You'd find the actors and recreate this whole thing
it says that
in order to get out.
It was in Freddy's character for so long. It kind of liked his character. It got used to being him, so it's kind of... But it's not him, so it doesn't abide by all the rules. It can do whatever it kind of wants, and that's how it's like some of the things are a bit different.
Yeah. I did like, though, that... Because Wes was saying, while she was asking about him writing the script, and he's like... I don't know where it's going. I basically get, like, I think he's like, I have a bit of a nap, and it comes to me, and then I write a scene. So he's basically, that's where she's asking for answers, because obviously what is happening in his script is happening in her life, and if he can't tell her where it's going, she's now kind of writing the script. But it's
also like, because he's writing the script, his dreams are dictating their reality.
Yeah. Or is her reality dictating his dreams, dictating the script?
We don't know.
This is fucking meta.
But I did like... Yeah, I loved this concept. And then Wes is like... And I think she goes like, where do you think the script's going to go? I didn't ask him what happened at the end.
Yeah.
But he's like, I think the only way to kind of stop him is to make another movie. When I'm like, that doesn't quite make sense, because you are making a movie.
Yep.
But was he talking within the script? So within the script, the actors, to get out of it, had to make another movie within the script, not what's happening in real life.
Yeah.
And I really like this line. He's like, are you ready to play Nancy one last time? And I liked that. I was like, it's cool.
Well, yes, because he explains, like, there is a gatekeeper. So there is someone stopping him from crossing over into the real world, and it's you. So, Nancy, you are the first person to humiliate and defeat him. You are the gatekeeper. So he's got to get through you to get into the real world.
And movie Inception.
Yeah.
It's basically like... And then I liked at this point where he kind of even... Like, you feel that Wes Craven knows that it's all happening.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of is guilty that the creation of this script is actually destroying everyone around. So he's basically murdering people by writing into the script.
Yeah, pretty much.
I did like... is this at the point where you see the computer screen as well?
Yes. I love
your see the script. The script is on the computer screen in the background, and we see it for a brief moment, and it's just the last bit of conversation that we've heard. So, so life is that reality is creating the script as they go. So basically, we're watching the creation of a film through real life. And like I said, it's Inception. It doesn't make any sense. So, like Christopher Nolan. I mean, if Nolan did it, it'll make even less sense.
Oh my god!
You just had to let go of a couple of ideas, because I feel there were some of the bits that didn't make sense.
Well, yeah, because I think, like, when we caught up for lunch the other day, you were saying that you had a bit of an issue with that scene.
Yeah.
Like, because she just didn't react to it or ask any further questions. It just cuts off.
Well, on the script on the TV, on the computer, says, like, they had that conversation, and then it says fade to black, and the film just fades to black, and I was like, wait up. And then I tried to go over it in my head of what I was seeing, and I couldn't work it out.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion that the movie, like, the real writers in real life always he hadn't quite got the whole concept down yet. And it had a lot of red herrings in it and stuff like that. It's still a great idea, but as I said, like, I just don't think... Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will get to there. Yeah.
Fade to black.
Yeah.
And I like that it said fade to black and then it faded to black.
Yes. Then Heather's sitting in bed. She's reading about sleep deprivation in children, and then we get...
She's researching paranoid schizophrenia.
Yeah. We get this another useless flash of everything that has happened in the film so far. Just like with a nice little blue overtone.
And like overlaid words of what she's reading and her reading, just saying certain words like paranoid schizophrenia can be brought down in family. Like,
Yeah.
sleep deprivation. It's saying words like.
It's like basically the short version is your child's not sleeping, he acting crazy. Put the kid to sleep.
I thought there was a ham-fisted attempt for us to go, is it just Audrey? Is it all just the kid, But no, it was too little too late.
Because also once you have that that group sort of mentality that once you get some person believing something and enough, you get that everyone starts.
Confirmation biasm.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this scene should have been before the last scene. Like, they should have, every scene, there needed to be a counter scene to counteract stuff that was happening in every scene. I felt to make you feel like, is she just crazy?
Yeah. I kind of felt that there was a lot of scenes, and again, I'll get into that later, that just were not necessary.
Just a lot of scenes?
Just get rid of some of it. This was the longest Nightmare on Elm Street film.
So then she's doing her research, and suddenly the TV turns itself on. Comes on. And it's a news report about two special effects men working on the new Nightmare on Elm Street film have been murdered.
They've been found dead in a field, slashed to death.
By wheat. like, what did they get slashed by? They just said slashed to death. And as she reads that, as she sees that, she's like, oh my God. And then suddenly another earthquake happens and knocks out the lights in her house.
Yep. So the house is really at this creaking kind of like kind of thing at this point. And she's walking around the house and she's like trying to investigate, like, oh, is there anything here? Like, why is my house creaking? Like, it's a really eerie creak as well.
I think there was in the background, it showed like the big crack in the wall where like Freddy's slash was. And I'm like, oh, nice continuity. That's
good. So the slash seemed a lot sort of thicker and bigger now, so with every earthquake it's sort of growing, and she's like standing sort of outside of her closet and she's looking at her bedside table where she had a coffee maker set up next to her bed, as she did in the original
a percolator. She had a percolator going 24-hour coffee next to her bed.
She would be shitting prolifically if she was drinking that much coffee.
Oh man, you'd be glitchy and shitty. You'd be like a fucking mess. You'd be like, what's glitchy and shitty? Yeah, you'd be like a bad video game.
You'd be like Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
No, I haven't played it. I can't answer that.
I have. It is glitchy shitty.
So she's noticed that it's now broken on the carpet, and
it's like,
sort of seems weird to
That's
her.
not where I left it, in front of this closet.
Oh, convenience. And she opens the closet and we get this like
clothes.
Just clothes. Just standard closet. Huh. Great. And then bursts out Freddy. He screams out like, miss me? And we get this new look Freddy. It's not a huge good glimpse at him. His sweater seems a little bit lighter and his face is sort of a little bit more demonic. Yeah,
it's like more that he's not as much burnt, that he's more just a bit, angular and shit. And he calls her Nancy.
Yes.
He goes, Nancy.
He does.
He's totally... He doesn't even know that she's Heather.
No.
To him,
no, so to him, he's like playing out the remainder of the original film, just with the person who was Nancy.
And he slashes at her?
Yep, so they have a tussle, and he does slash at her and like right across her arm, similar to the first film. And then he just sort of slips away and rolls under the bed.
Oh, like another tremor happens and she wakes up.
Yep.
So it's just like, oh, that was all another, a snort like, oh. I'm awake now. So then Heather, for some reason, goes, oh, fuck, shit, dicks. I need to go to the hospital and see my son for some reason.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that was probably explained at some point, but I don't think it was.
Yeah, well, I think she just panics and goes like, he is real. I got to go protect Dylan.
Yeah, so if he's in this place for sleep deprivation, they're going to put him to sleep. He's going to come for Dylan. I've got to go get Dylan.
So she rushes to the hospital. And then the babysitter's there as well. What's her name?
Julie. She's in there, and she's like,
I just felt like
I just needed to see him. I felt like I needed to see him. Like, why can't I see him?
I had this dream, and it's at the middle of the night, and they're not letting me see him. I know they don't let people in.
Yeah, no, you're not a family member. Like, not letting you in.
Anyhow, the big Nurse Ratchet.
Yep.
They get let in for some reason. Nurse Ratchet sees Heather has her arm all slashed up, and she's like, oh.
She's like, let's go check. She's like, what? How did this happen? And she's like, it happened in the earthquake.
She also reckons, she's like, what's wrong with Dylan? He's fine. He's just in an oxygen chamber. He's fine.
Yeah, he had another fit and he's in an oxygen chamber. didn't think to call and let the mother know that your child has had another fit and is now in the ICU in an oxygen tent.
We actually, with my kid, like, stuff happened to him and we didn't find out till the next day. We went to
Really?
hospital sometimes. Yeah.
That's fucked.
Yeah. They probably, like, gauge how much stress the mother is under to whether it's worth. Like, they've got the situation under control.
Yep.
There's no point in stressing them out.
Yeah.
I mean, Heather was pretty fucked in this.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Although it was the American hospital system, it's probably that was fucked.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, she takes off. She's like, okay, we need to go check this out before we can talk to Dylan.
Yeah. Okay. Slashed arms.
Yeah.
Bleeding everywhere.
So then she's talking to. Am I missing it? I'm right. So her and the doctor are talking now.
There's two times when she
her
takes her to the office. This is the first time. Yeah.
Yep. So she's checking out the wounds.
She's just like.
She's like, they happened tonight. She's like, they happened in the earthquake. She's like, oh, these look too fresh. She's like, the earthquake that was 15 minutes ago.
And she's like, what
and
are
the
you
doctor's
talking
like, huh, mustn't have hit us here across the
road.
freeway.
So we're like, so that maybe. But she's like, dream earthquaking.
Yep.
Dream quaking.
And the doctor starts talking about Dylan. The nurses overheard him talking to himself, talking about Freddie. So she's just immediately starts blaming. She's like,
Yeah, you haven't.
You have let. It's like, you defied me. You told me you didn't, but you did. You did let him watch those films. How dare you lie to me like that?
Yeah, and then she's basically like, fuck off, cunt.
At this point, I'm just like, you acting a damn fool, nurse lady, doctor. She's a doctor. Like, I just wanted to slap her.
But then we kind of just cut to, like, Nancy asleep on, in the chair next to Dylan in the oxygen chamber.
Yep.
Dylan wakes up. He kind of sits up. He pulls his oxygen chamber open. Mm-hmm. And then basically Exorcist vomits all over Nancy.
Like, he starts saying some weird, creepy fucking shit and then immediately vomits all over her and has another fit.
And then, he has another fit. All the staff come in and they, try to help Dylan. The Nurse Ratchet, I don't know what her real name is. Comes in, you know who Nurse Ratchet is?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Yeah, comes in and she's like, what's going on here? We got to operate straight away. She lifts up her hand and she's got the Freddy glove on.
Yeah.
Or the Freddy hand.
Yeah.
And then she turns blatantly into Dylan, into Freddy. And then, once again, Heather snort wakes. She's just still in the chair next to Dylan. He's still asleep. Like,
he's not. He's gone.
Oh, no, he's gone.
He's gone. So Dylan's gone and she's like, where the fuck is my kid? Like,
She
what are you
starts screaming.
doing? Doctor comes in and she's like, he's gone for more testing. Like, he's just gone downstairs. It's okay. It's okay. You're fine. And then she, like, walks past to where Dylan's being held for his testing. And the nurse immediately says, hey, you need a pass to be in here. And in true Nancy fashion, she just walks past going, screw your pass. And I'm like, yeah. So at this point, Julie is in with Dylan in the room.
Yep.
And the doctor has basically, she's not going to let them leave.
No, she's like, you got to
She's
stay
like,
here. And then Julie's like, I'll stay here. And then Dylan has this conversation with Heather going like, I need Rex to protect me. She's like, I'll go get Rex.
Yeah, it's like, look, I did all this shit to get here. I'm probably in a lot of trouble with the feds right now, but I'm going to leave you and go get your
With
done.
your babysitter in the middle of the night. Also, we've noticed that Heather now has a grey streak of hair.
Yes.
Like coming down like all the way out. And I was like, I always like a grey streak.
The Nancy streak.
The trauma.
Yep, I love it.
Trauma. Did she get that? That was in Nightmare 3. She had a streak as well.
Which she had it in the first one. She got it in the first one. So when she was in the
But she didn't in real life. Like she didn't at the start. Yeah, right.
No.
So she goes to go get Rex.
Yes.
And then
So it's Julie and Dylan.
No, she goes to go get Rex.
Yep.
And then the police rock up as she's leaving, and they're like, "Lady, you have to come with us." I'm like, "Yeah, you should. Hey,
it's like
you're going crazy."
Yeah.
And they take her to they take her away into the conversation room, like in the hospital, to ask her some questions, probably about child abuse.
Yes. Surprisingly.
And then we cut back to the babysitter, Julie, and then like the nurses.
Two nurses come. I like this scene as well. So two nurses come in, and then one is immediately walks over to Dylan and just kind of just give him a little pat on the back. One nurse we see she's at the medicine cabinet and she's like putting something.
She's making up, like a shot.
She's making up a shot. And Julie's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, we need to give him something to help him sleep. And she's like, no.
can't. Your mother,
like,
the mother
the
said.
mother has said not. So she gets up to go to the nurse, and as she gets up to go to the nurse next to Dylan, bam, needle in the arm. She got the fucking drop on him. I love it.
She knew this was going to happen. So that the real shot had already been made.
So then Julie just out and out fucking punches the nurse in the face. I'm like, oh, that escalated real quick.
Yeah, there's already police in the building. You're clearly going to go to jail, but no one goes to jail.
And during this little tussle, like, both syringes are on the floor. No, one syringe ends up on the floor, so she picks it up, and then the nurse is like, oh, hey, put that down. She's like, well, I know what's in that one, but do you know what's in this one? And it's like, okay.
That was a good, and she runs away.
Yeah, so Dylan...
That's the coward nurse. She, in every scene, she's a coward.
She's like, oh, fuck off.
And then, she's like holding Dylan, like, don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep.
He's like, I'm getting sleepy, Julie.
I can't fall asleep. At this point, we know that Dylan has fallen asleep. And we know that when Dylan falls asleep, for some reason, Freddy has power over everyone.
Yeah.
In reality, like, Dylan's like this weird, like...
He's a conduit.
Yeah.
Which is, it's always the kids because they're more susceptible to that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Dylan... We think he's awake, but he's not, because he can sleepwalk, so he can still be awake when he's even awake.
Exactly.
So it gets confusing at this point in a grey area. So we see Freddy, like, as, like, the babysitter, Julie's, like, shaking Dylan. We see Freddy, like, rise up behind her in that kind of horror shot. This was the best scene in the film. This was wicked.
I loved this scene. So we get the full look of Freddy. So he's like, his face is kind of a little bit more square. He looks like The Weeknd, who's apparently had some plastic surgery and looks absolutely disgusting right now. I had to learn who The Weeknd was to make that reference.
He makes comics.
I don't know.
So he's got a jacket now, and he's got a new
hat.
A green fedora. And I was like, I didn't like it.
No.
I was just like, why would an entity get a new hat?
It's like Malibu Stacy. It's got a new hat.
He was just like in a fedora and a jacket. He just looked like a college kid.
He had
that's at the uni bar.
The kid that was about to shoot up the college, or
no, he's a milady.
Yeah, a fucking neckbeard.
He's miladying her. I just didn't understand why Freddy would get a new hat and jacket. I thought the jacket looked cool.
Yeah.
But like...
Well, he had the pop collar. Of course that looks cool. It looks badass.
Still my lady. He could have been a school shooter, you're right.
He could have been.
Anyway.
Because he was wearing the combat boots too.
Yeah. Combat boots. Because he used to just wear like the shoes. Mm-hmm. So Freddy's turned into a school shooter. Milady. What's that thing like? Insect?
The incels?
Incel?
Yeah.
As in, like, the night have sex?
Yeah.
I reckon that's what he is. He's the embodiment of all the internet hatred, of all the men who are suffering from women not giving them sex. Mm-hmm. Withholding sex from them because they deserve it.
Sure.
Anyhow.
Yep.
I went on a tangent. Anyhow, he comes up behind Julie.
Yep.
And he stabs her in the back.
Ugh.
And lifts her up off the ground. Meanwhile, do you know what I like about this scene? Everyone sees it.
Yes.
So the nurses run back straight away and see Julie floating in the air with blood pissing out of her back, and they're like, "Gah!"
And the other nurse, she fucking bolts again. She's just like,
cowardness.
I know, I'm out.
Carol says, I don't get paid enough.
No.
And then we get the ultimate, like, Nightmare on Elm Street thing where Freddy drags her around the wall. So you've got, obviously the whole set is a turning room.
Yep.
And he drags her, like, it kind of works really well because he slams her up against the wall and then the gravity shifts when he hits her onto different walls. I thought it was really cool.
It looked good. It was well executed.
And she's, like, going up the side of the wall. He walks up the walls, like, he's standing vertical in the room. We see, like, we see Dylan sitting on the chair.
He's just sitting there, like, with this, like, terrified, almost like Danny Torrance, like, freaking out kind of look on his face. And he's just like, huh. And he's like, what do you think? Yeah. So, but then everyone sees this girl getting dragged around the roof. And he throws her into the top of the roof, into the ceiling. She slams up into that, and he walks around. And, so she's up there. The nurses are seeing her, like, what's going on? And he pretty much just...
He says a line, Freddy, to
Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something about, like, have you ever played the game, like, Skin a Cat or something?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty certain he just snaps her neck, and then that's the end of it.
And he clicks her fingers, and she just falls. Oh, yeah, he just snaps her neck. And then
because he kind of just, And
then the moment she dies, she falls down and slams onto the ground, which everyone sees this. I loved how everyone saw it. I love this scene. This is one of the best Nightmare on Elm Street kills I thought ever. And then the film goes downhill from here.
Yep. We're in the final stretch now. So this is pretty much the final stretch of the film, I reckon.
Well, now Heather she's talked to the police and they kind of just let her go.
Yeah, well, I think the alarm sounds like code yellow in the pediatric, and she's just like, fucking Dylan. So she runs out, she's run into the room, and Julie is dead on the ground, and Dylan is gone.
Yeah, and instead of being upset that her babysitter is dead, she just turns around and goes, "Where's my son?"
Yep.
So she's pretty angry.
So she's in the car, she calls John Saxon.
At first she looks out the window and just sees, oh, look, he's gone home to get Rex.
Because she was meant to do it, she didn't do it.
And he's still sleepwalking.
Yeah.
He's still in his state.
So she's driving and she's on the phone to John. She's like, I need to find him, like something's happening, all this shit's going down. She spies Dylan heading for the freeway.
So she hangs up on John Saxon. Didn't really need to ring him then.
No, you don't.
She stops her car, she gets out, she's like...
Yep, so he's at the edge of this freeway now. Cars just barreling past, going full speed.
We see Freddy, the clouds start to change.
Cloud in the sky.
And the clouds kind of form Freddy in the sky. So there's we've also got a giant Freddy Krueger in the sky. Can Nancy see this?
I don't know if she can. Dylan definitely can. So he's freaked out and he just starts fucking walking into traffic. He just bolts
into traffic, into this huge 6-lane highway or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. It's huge.
But then Freddy, giant finger claw comes down, hooks him behind his neck.
Yeah.
And lifts him up. So he's and it keeps showing reality. He's a floating child.
Yeah.
And he's just tormenting him in front of cars, laying him down and then just before the car hits him, he brings him up. And I'm not sure why he does this.
I don't know. I don't know.
And Heather runs out and just gets clocked by a car.
Oh, she fucking gets hit by a car.
And then shrugs it off straight away.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm fine.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I have the mother power.
Mother power.
Mother power, that mother strength.
Mother strength. So she shrugs off the car. She's like, I'm all cool. That's fine with me.
Yep.
And
then Dylan spies an army of Krugers heading towards it's just all these Freddy Krugers that have just come up to a fence.
It's like Freddy needs Dylan to get home for some reason, and he's making him get there, but he's kind of because he looks back and just sees a million Freddys on the other side of the freeway, coaxing him to go home.
Yeah.
Right. So for some reason,
I don't know.
Anyhow, they both make it home.
Yes.
Dylan makes it home first. Heather gets there shortly after, and then suddenly John Saxton rocks up at the house.
Yeah, startles her. Dylan comes out with Rex, and then I think they exchange some words, and then so Heather and John, they decide to go out. He's like, let's...
This is my favourite. This is my second favourite scene in the whole film. Them talking, they walk out the front of the house, and then all of a sudden, they're having this conversation, and John Saxton starts falling into the role of her dad.
Yep.
And then he mentions, she's just like... And then he calls, Nancy, what are you doing? And she's like, why are you calling me Nancy, John? And he's like, who's John?
Yeah.
And,
So now
And then you're like, ooh. And then it shows a shot of her, then cuts back to John Saxton, and suddenly he's in the cop uniform. So Freddy's reality now, from getting Dylan into the house is breaking out. The whole... He's basically making Nightmare on Elm Street real.
Mm.
For everyone. He's shaping reality.
That's right. So he's got to bring it into the real world.
Because as I said, they don't have to make a film. Because he's trying to bring the nightmare into the real film. So as into the real world. And so he's bending the rules of reality, which is cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
And then she kind of looks down and then she's in her original jammies.
Yep.
From Nightmare on Elm Street, and then she runs back into the house and it pans back to show it's the original Nightmare house.
Yeah.
Which I love, that house.
So she's back in Elm Street.
She's back in Elm Street. I loved it. I thought that scene was so good. Just all the nods. They're all there.
So in between this scene happening, we get this scene of Dylan's bed. It's starting to shake. It's starting to smoke. And then, of course, Freddy comes up.
Through the sheet.
He comes up through the sheet like this crazy ghost. And he rips through it. And then we get this rip-through reveal of him coming out of the bed, out of the sheet. So now he's in the real world.
Yeah, he's in our world. Or is he? Because Dylan might just be, like, creating this vortex of, like, dream world or whatever. We're not quite sure. And Nancy runs into home, like, Nightmare on Elm Street's playing, Nightmare on Elm Street 1's playing on the TV, trying to be as meta as fuck.
Yep. Like, Dylan's gone. He's disappeared. But she finds a sleeping pill. So one of the sleeping pills that he spat out is now on
another
the
one
floor.
in... Well, hang on, this is a trail he's leaving me. You left me a trail of breadcrumbs, Dylan.
Breadcrumbs. It's coming full circle.
So she goes to the bed, pulls the sheets off, and he's not there. Nothing's there. No more breadcrumb. And she's like, hang on, you've given me a gateway. And she starts just popping the pills.
Yeah, she does. So Rexy's also on the ground, all completely ripped up, indicating that the battle has been lost.
I feel they missed an opportunity to show Rex in the dream world fighting.
I would have liked that.
I fully thought the moment they showed it, because, like, you know, when you can bring anything into the real world, into the dream world, and become... I thought there could have been, like, a really bad CG or raptor fight.
It would have looked like the dinosaurs from the Super Mario Brothers movie.
No, or dinosaurs.
Oh.
Anyhow.
Anyway.
So she takes the pills, and the moment she takes the pills, she opens the covers again, and there's another pill there. Yeah. So I'm like, what is the message here?
It's like,
More pills you take, the more your reality, the more your confirmation bias becomes real.
Your parental ability gets better. I don't know.
Yeah, and at this point, I was still like, man, you still just might be crazy. You're popping pills like a fucking, like an addict, like, and you're 100% booked into your story.
Well, that's because that's the thing. Like, you know, we are in this point of like, well, she's clearly taken drugs and she clearly believes this, and this okay. So she's going deeper down to the bed.
She's in the bed portal.
Yeah,
it's a never-ending
in the bed portal. So
it looks like when you're a kid. Yeah,
this huge tunnel, and she's heading down it.
And it suddenly turns into, like, sewer.
Turns into a bit of a slip and slide.
Slip and slide sewer. It's, like, familiar, like, you know, it's zooming past. It's changing into, like, you know, that Freddy kind of world, like the boiler room, the grates, you know. Yep. She's sliding and she falls down and goes ploosh into a big puddle, into a big, like, pool. Yeah,
so she comes out of this giant Freddy mouth and falls into this, like, Geiger-type hellscape.
Well, no, it's like, it reminded me heaps from Nightmare 36 with all the Roman pillars and shit from, like, the original 3 gods that gave him the power were, like, in Roman times for some reason. So there's a lot of pillars happening. It's like the Roman Empire mixed with the Dreamscape boiler room world. Yeah.
They're trying to merge the two.
It looks like one of those, like, you know, I forgot the artist, the painting that does those hellscapes in, like, the art gallery kind of thing vibe, where, you know, people getting eaten and, you know, people getting stuck up the arse with things and stuff like that.
I don't know.
Anyhow.
Yeah. So then there's, like, fires, you know, she sort of gets up, she looks around.
Runs around Dreamworld for a while.
There's fire. She's basically at where the film began. She's in that same location where the film started.
She's just running around, basically.
Yeah, she is. Like,
and then she spies a book on the ground.
Yeah.
She's like, what's that paper? And she looks at it, and it's the movie script.
Yeah.
At this point, why didn't she just go to the end and find out what to do? I think it was writing itself as...
I think so.
So then she opens the script, and she reads the exact moment that she is having. And so then the script reads something like...
there was no movie, only her life.
Yeah, there was no movie, there was no... Everybody goes there. At the exact... As she reads the word, she, you know... This totally just reminded me of Spaceballs. You know when they get the pirated version of the film to sound out what's going to happen next, and they get to now, and he goes, when's now? Now. When was that? Then. When? Now. No, you just missed it. When is now? Now. When? Then. When's that? Oh, you just missed it. Like, it was that kind. And I loved it. Like, but then I'm like, is the script relevant at this point? Like, because it's reality. This is where I got boggled when I'm like, okay, I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah, at this point it's like 10 o'clock at night and I'm starting to get really tired and I'm like, just when are we going to get there?
And Dylan rocks up out of nowhere and she basically nearly punches him in the face from behind. Puts a fist up.
Yep.
And then basically straight away Freddy rocks up. Now this Freddy is the worst Freddy we've ever encountered, as in like... It's like he doesn't know. I mean, he'd been Freddy all that time. He would have known better. Like, all he does is run around and get hurt.
There's really not a lot of interaction. Like, there's no quippy one-liners. There's no...
Well, he's supposed to be a more eviler,
Yeah.
non-one. Apparently, he's like the nightmare, the Freddy that Wes Craven originally designed.
Yeah.
And then he just turned into like this more like kind of wisecracking dude. And yeah.
So Kruger attacks, somehow like knocks over a thing of snakes and eels.
Yeah.
And he's like, pick your son a pet, bitch, or something.
Yeah.
So she immediately picks up
An eel.
and eels him in the eye.
She stabs him in the eye with an eel.
Not even an electric eel that could start electrocuting him. No, they didn't have that in the budget.
This is what I was like, what? And this really hurt him. And I'm like, why are you so weak? And it's suffering from idiot like final form.
Yeah.
Like, I feel this film.
Oh man, you and your final form
Like
hatred.
The final form, like the disappointing end. Like he's not even that. He's just an idiot. He's just a man in this. He's not even got any power. He's in the dream world. Why would an eel hurt him?
I don't know.
An eel.
I don't know.
And then like
they spar. They
spar.
trade some blows.
yeah, it's just like wrestling. Like,
Yeah.
not even like he could just kill her instantly.
Yeah.
He could disappear.
He's not using any
He
of his
could turn
gloves.
into an eel.
He's got a cool glove. He's not using that.
Dylan rocks up behind him and stabs him in the bloody leg with a kitchen knife.
Yes.
Freddy. And Freddy's like, ah! I'm like, why would that hurt him?
No, it shouldn't
We've
hurt
seen
him.
many times him chopping his own fingers off
Yeah.
for fun and shit like that.
So, I mean, maybe this is like a Dylan hellscape, so he's making the... I don't fucking know.
Maybe
it's too
Dylan
much.
has more power, over the rules because...
Quite possibly.
Anyway, Nancy,
Heather gets knocked unconscious, and so now the chase is on between Kruger and Dylan.
but isn't she already unconscious from taking all those pills?
She gets Inception unconscious.
She gets unconscious
She's in
upon
another
unconscious.
level.
Yeah, so time's going double time for her.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much.
And then Freddy, then there's this mincing scene of Freddy chasing Dylan around the dreamscape. Dylan outsmarting Freddy in his own boiler room.
Yep.
Considering he was how did he kill any children if he's this weak?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a disappointing child murderer.
Children are pretty agile, I guess.
And
I don't
Dylan gets into the boiler.
Yeah.
He's
He's in the furnace.
The furnace. The
Yeah.
furnace that we assume is the one that killed Freddy. That's
Yeah.
why I don't know why Freddy
Which is a similar furnace to Hansel and Gretel.
which I didn't actually get that. But
Yeah.
because I was thinking, it's his furnace that the town burnt him in. He gets in there, and then for some reason, even though Freddy isn't constrained by the form that he's in, can't reach Dylan in the thing. So he does a very, 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 very slow Freddy arm stretch.
Very similar to the opening of It, where it pulls his arm out of the
It worked
sewer
in
to
It.
grab the kid, which it fucking did work.
Well,
in It.
it's different because he's all about fear.
Yeah.
He needs to tenderize them up with fear.
Oh, that kid's plenty tender right now.
Yeah.
He's like a smoked brisket.
Anyhow, Nancy's outside. She wakes up. She snort wakes. She's still in the dream. Don't worry, she didn't snort out of it. She's
she
lucky.
didn't.
She
She
didn't
just kinda
snort.
woke
She's
up.
lucky she didn't snort out of it,
So she's got to start running. So she's running up. She's got to go back up some stairs,
which weren't there before.
which weren't there before, which are there now.
Which is fine. It's a dreamscape.
That's fine. I don't care. And
And
they
they-
become the stairs from the first film.
Yeah, the goo stairs.
So the goop. She's running through the goop.
So Freddy's like, Freddy can do that. Why doesn't he do everything else? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no,
Anyhow,
it's fine.
Freddy eventually grabs Dylan, gets him with his long arm,
Yep.
brings him over, and he says a line, I'm going to eat you up or something. I'm going to swallow your soul.
Yeah, something.
Something Evil Dead-esque.
Yeah.
And his mouth kind of stretches. Oh, this didn't look that good.
It did. It looked. So you've seen The Stuff.
Yeah.
So you know when the guy starts to it's all coming out of his mouth, and he very similar scene. It looked better in The Stuff, which was made in the 80s, than it did in this.
So Freddy's mouth is opening wider and wider through a practical effect to
Yeah.
fit Dylan's whole head into his mouth.
Yeah.
And he's going to try and eat Dylan. And I'm like, usually when Freddy kills someone, he has a theme. I feel more that a bed would have attacked him. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because Dylan has bed problems.
Just
sleeping.
anything.
Anything but that.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Heather comes in. She stabs him.
Stabs him with the kitchen knife. This kitchen knife plays a big part. They're lucky. we forgot to mention she brought this kitchen knife with her, like the whole time from
Yeah.
the kitchen before she went into the
Yeah. So she chose to bring in not a dinosaur, but a kitchen knife.
Yeah. So
Choices.
she stabs him in the back because he's half still hanging out the boiler because he can't, even though his arm can stretch, his head can stretch. For some reason, he can't fit into the boiler.
No, he can't shrink himself. I'm pretty certain if he tried hard enough and thought about it, he could actually
you
fit in there.
fucking blew. You blew the ending. You blew it. You blew it.
Yep.
Anyway, he.
So he immediately, I think
He's
he
in the
ends
boiler.
up in the fucking furnace,
Yeah,
and
he
then
somehow
he
gets-
attacks her with his tongue.
Yeah, he does get into the furnace. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know. It was a blink and miss.
Anyhow, they lock him in the furnace, but the
Yeah.
furnace kind of has bars around it, so he can still see. And his tongue shoots out and wraps around, which is a very Freddy thing. I was fine with that one. Wraps around Nancy's whole face. I thought that was hilarious.
Yep. Dylan, who was also in the furnace still, escapes the furnace through a snake barrier, which I didn't like.
Yeah,
That
there's
was
just
terrible.
another way out of the furnace or some shit.
Yeah,
like
just
it.
by snakes. I would have just stayed in the furnace and died.
Yeah. So he gets out. He comes all the way around, and then grabs the knife and
Starts
cuts.
stabbing.
He stabs. There's a comedy scene of Freddy going, "Oh, don't stab my tongue!" Like, whoop, 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 whoop. He's dodging the tongue. He's
Yeah.
stabbing down like Psycho style.
He gets it and he just forks his tongue.
Yeah,
Just,
so
rips
Dylan
it
stabs
out.
the tongue, and then so Freddy retracts his tongue, which
Yep.
rips it out, which makes it into like a snake tongue.
Which means that he's now trapped in the furnace. And
And they just turn it on.
yeah.
They turn it on. It lights up. Freddy explodes.
He's-
First he turns into a demon.
He does. This is the most disgusting looking fucking thing ever as well. It is the worst CGI demon. So
Yeah.
he just turns into this
No,
really
it wasn't CGI. It was morphing. Do you remember that effect?
Yes, with the morph. Ugh.
So he morphs into just basically a mask. It's just basically a demon mask. Like it just looks. It's got some horns. It's just. I think it's supposed to represent what the original evil, originally looked like.
Yeah.
And then he just explodes.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, that can't be it. No,
Yeah.
it is.
That is.
That's it.
And that's the end of that chapter. So then the rest of the hellscape starts kind of exploding, and Dylan and Heather fall out of the bed into the real world.
They run. Yeah,
They run.
Hell world's starting to, dream world's starting to shape. They run and they dive back into that pool
Yep.
that she fell, and then and that makes them just fall out of the bed. They're
Yeah.
out. They're out. They're on the wait. What?
They're done.
Do that from the start.
They're saved. The witch is dead.
Yeah, and then they pick up. Yeah, he says something along those lines.
He does.
doesn't
He says that's exact line.
And then, of course, lo and behold, on the ground next to them is the script.
Yes, with a lovely note from Wes.
Wes Craven at the end of it.
Yep.
And it reads, Heather, thanks for having the guts to play Nancy one last time. At last, Freddy is back where he belongs. Regards, Wes. And I'm like, okay, what? Wait. So, he finished the script. So now he's finished that script. It's all happened. Now does she have to act that movie out for it to work?
She ain't acting anything out. She's going to jail and her son is going into foster care.
True. But is the film now that she has acted it, it's actually it's done.
Yeah.
So it's done. Or was there no film?
Well,
And the whole point was Wes trying to help them destroy the evil.
well, it had to. So the evil could be stopped by storytellers. It's still out down on paper. That is still technically the story has been told. So they don't technically have to make a movie.
Or was that just how he
could-
finished the script, by making everyone go through it? And now they have to act it all out again, even though heaps of people are dead.
Yeah. There. Yeah.
Final
That-
thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the longest Nightmare on Elm Street film released, and it is fucking long as shit. It feels long. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get
I
me wrong.
watched it in 2 parts.
I really enjoyed it. I do enjoy this film. I had watched it recently, like at least a month or so ago.
Sorry.
That's fine. But before that, I'd watched it when I was a kid, and I just didn't understand. I didn't understand the concept. There was a lot of talking. There was a lot. I'm like, I don't fucking get this. That's fine. So I'm really glad, and I really appreciate the concept. I kind of like the new look Freddy, but we do not get to see that much of him, honestly.
Yeah, he's not in it very much, but
No.
which is fine because of how good he was.
Yeah.
Um,
The concept's great. I love this concept.
I thought it was the best idea that wasn't quite pulled off to its full potential.
Agreed.
It was heaps good. It could have gone anywhere and like kept doing it. And it was interesting the whole way through up until the last like half an hour, and it just turned into like, I gotta have courage to beat Freddy, and then Freddy turned out to be such a such a letdown.
Yeah.
Like they could have made him like just shit, like maybe have him like that he was just constantly, his wounds were bleeding.
Yeah.
You know, just something fucking cool. Like he was just always dripping blood and stuff like that. Just cool things. If you're going to change him like...
Yeah.
Don't just give him a fucking green hat and tell him to pick up chicks at a uni bar.
I think as well, though, like the Freddy... The entity is not actually Freddy. It was playing Freddy. This is going to go down a fucking hole. And then I'm going to get confused and I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah, it's what the entity thought Freddy should have become or something. So he tried to make him a bit more evil, but he just kind of didn't do it.
But didn't
which is fine because he's not Freddy, so theoretically it's not ruining Freddy.
Thank you.
Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
Okay. I love clever horrors. We've already gone over that. I love ones that try and do something different, try and take the concept of a horror that it's more than just a genre. It's more. It's a way of life. It affects people and stuff like that. I love any of that shit. So, number one. So this I feel is the third best Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street film.
Yep.
But I haven't watched number 1 and 2 since I was a kid. So they aren't in my list. So my list goes as number 1, I think Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the best one. Mm-hmm. Then I think Freddy's Dead. Mm-hmm. I love Freddy's Dead. It has so much cool in it.
It does.
It like just from that opening with that fucking like Freddy like the and from like all the dream sequences are wicked, like all the killings wicked. Freddy's at his peak, Freddy.
Yep.
And his death is legit in it. It seems like the end of Freddy. You know, they go hard. The whole 3D thing, pulling and it went 3D. And then this one is my third one.
That's fair.
Wait, would that agree to you, or do you think maybe 1 or 2 kind of make that list for you?
2 does not make any list for me.
Oh, yeah, good.
At all. I'd definitely say probably 1, then 3, then this.
Oh, you're not even going to do Freddy's Dead?
No, it's not up there for me. I did watch them all recently as well, so number 1's still like the number 1 for me. And then, of course, like honorable mention, Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah, Freddy vs. Jason's good fun. That's definitely worth watching. That is.
Yeah.
It's weird that they did that. They went to all this trouble to kill him and then just bought it. Because that's set in the reality. That's set in Elm Street. Like, that's set in... Or it's set in 2 films. Set in Crystal Lake and Elm Street, which is... I think that was just like... Does that have anything to do with Wes Craven?
I can't remember. No, I don't think so. No.
Kind of weird that it even got... Maybe it's this New Line had all that.
It was a long time coming because there was like the talks of doing like the Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. Yeah. And then there was all like these verse
there was
movies.
A comic of that.
Yeah. So all these verse movies that were like up in the air and they're like, we got to make a film out of this.
That's right. And it's weird when I like when horror beasties and slashers fight each other.
Yeah.
Like because they have their own rules and shit.
Well, they keep saying like they want to do an Expendables film, but with all the horror characters, and I would be down for that.
It would
probably be really
I don't like
bad.
Expendables. I don't think no one likes the Expendables. No one gets enough screen time in that.
No.
I feel like they could do a series of them, like where they're like different ones, and like the one that survives the next film gets to be in the next one, and shit like that.
Or like a battle royale.
Maybe like a three of them together, and then like or something like that. I mean that's like a dream movie. I remember back in the day when Fangoria magazine used to take like the center spread was like, you know, maybe Michael Myers and Freddy together and all shit like that. The Rad one, which has like, I think I've mentioned it before, it has like all the 4 big ones like Texas Chainsaw, Freddy, Michael Myers, and Jason.
Yep.
All together in a graveyard. But like, you know, just for a photo shoot. But what's wicked is Freddy just has a massive pitcher of beer.
Yeah.
Like for no reason.
Why not?
Like no one else has a prop. But like Freddy's just got those big handled ones.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I love it. What did you give it?
So I gave this a C. I do think that it is a classic that is definitely worth a watch.
I also gave it a C. It's a classic worth a watch, just purely because of its concept of trying to do something so outside of the box, so like indulgent for a director as well. Like you could tell that would have been running around in his head because apparently this was supposed to be Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what he wanted to do. Like for the third one, was the third one or the second one?
Third one.
But we're lucky he didn't because
Yeah.
like, we got 3 and this.
Exactly.
Weird.
We were spoiled.
We were spoiled. All right. What is next week? What are we doing? So that's it.
That's
We've
it.
done Wes Craven. So have a watch, guys. If you think, put down any thoughts in the comments anywhere, whether you like this one, you hate it, you agree with my, like, it suffers from fucking, like, boss monster failure. Lumbering
I like
boss
that.
monster.
Yeah.
Final form boss monster failure.
Well, I mean, look, it's really hard because, like, the final boss monster should just be able to come out and squish you, but then we wouldn't enjoy that because our protagonist would just be dead.
Yeah, the worst one's the gate. That's the biggest boss monster fail.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
So I think that next week we're going to watch something stupid. Dan, have you ever seen Idle Hands?
Yes.
Fuck yes.
100 times.
We're watching Idle Hands.
Is that got a cult following?
It does, yeah.
I've got a VHS somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just in the mood for something a little bit
Scott
easy
Evil?
and a little bit stupid.
Bit
Yes.
Scott Evil?
Everyone loves Seth Green.
Yeah, I know. Do they?
I don't
Remember
know.
when he was a werewolf?
I do remember when he was a
I
werewolf,
think
yeah.
that's the most thing people remember. Oh, Scott Evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rad.
Yeah.
Idle Hands.
Starring Devon Sawa. It's fantastic. So, anyway, you've been listening to TerrorVision Horror Podcast with Dan and Jennifer. We are available on all streaming services, including SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and basically anywhere good podcasts can be found. We're also available on the YouTube. But no matter where you choose to consume us, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment or a review, and share with all your friends. We also have an Instagram at TerrorVision Pod, which will keep you up to date with upcoming episodes, trivia, and of course memes that are probably 3 years old by now. We also have an email, terrorvisionpod@gmail.com. Let us know what you want us to watch, discuss, anything like that. Our opening and closing music is Void Swell by Sister Wife.
And if you want to check out me somewhere else.
We all want to check you out, Dan.
Woo! You can rock down to Greenlight Comics in Adelaide in 18 Stevens Place, where it's the comic store that I co-own and run, and we can chat about it. We are trying to get our merch on the way. It's just a bit hard at the moment. I'm moving house at the moment. There's a pandemic happening. Everything's busy.
I would actually like to hear some feedback about shirt ideas, because I've had a few people come to me with some ideas.
Yep.
And from everyone else who will inevitably buy a shirt from us because we're awesome.
And pins.
And
Basically, that's all I want to do is shirts and pins. And eventually we'll press a record, because that will make Jen explode. And until next week, may all your dreams be nightmares.